Yo, lads, what is up? I'm a rapper. I said which of it is true. I thought you knew. For the world I thought you knew. It's deep in the caddy. Thought you knew. That's my bad, I thought you knew. Even though we're neighbors, she just flew from continue. She was one good, might put together 2 and 2. I think zoos are cool. I said, baby, let's go hit the zoo. And they products they ain't new. Oh my god, yo, YT slid on this, bro. Go to answer. Free Gaza. I said, which of it is true. Alright, guys. So, mad people waiting for this video. Tons of requests and just messaging for this video. This video is the whole methodology I used when invoking AI and how I was able to implement AI in my trading and how it made me a better trader, how it made me realize, you know, stuff I wasn't realizing in my trading, and not just in my trading, but in my life. I'm not even a trader. I'm not, like, I promise I'm not a trader. Like, that's not even the main thing I do. The main thing I do is AI and my business. I work on my business. That's all I do. AI and my business. I love AI. I read everything on AI. I do everything, indulge in everything AI. I'm all about AI, bro. I am literally the AI. I'm the AI, bro. Call me frickin' Skynet. Okay? I'm telling you, I'm freaking AI. So listen. This video is a lot and it's pretty in depth, and I apologize if I don't do the best to get the information across. I'm not the greatest like at speaking, and I do realize that, and I'm using this passion of mine of making videos and teaching and just making content to work on my public speaking and my ability to articulate. So I do apologize if this video just isn't laid out in the most like professional way. I'm really still new at like this whole content stuff and just trying to get the hang of it. So I did try my best though to just make this really a comprehensive walkthrough and have all the information there. And if you still have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, to message me. I will answer your questions, point you in the right direction. I love AI and you should love AI. AI is the future. AI is where it's at, and this video is really showcasing just how far we've come as a society. You know, we've advanced more technologically in the last 20 years than the last 300, and to see where we are now and have these tools available, it's insane. And to know that there's people that don't know about these and aren't leveraging these in their lives is insane. So I feel like I have to just make a video like this. So like I said, I'm not even a trader for real. I just found out how to implement AI in my trading. I trade on the side, and you know, ever since I started doing my business, I put trading on the side and put my business first. So I, you know, just through using AI, I was able to figure out, wait, what would it look like if I implemented AI in my trading? And a few months went by, and trial and error, just lots of nights. I mean, I couldn't even fucking sleep, bro. Whatever they put in Claude, bro, you're gonna get addicted. I swear you're gonna get addicted. I still can't sleep. I can't sleep. All I think about is Claude, stuff I need to build, fix, what I can do with AI. Like, it's an addiction, bro. It's bad. And I hope you don't get like as obsessed with it as I do, because it's really taken up a lot of my life to really know and learn about all this. But I guess you could look at it in a positive, because in one way I've learned a lot, and it's helped me just in my life and become just such a more knowledgeable person, a better person, just by using it. So with that being said, we're going to get into the video, and I hope you guys really enjoy this video. It's a long video. It took me days to film, edit. I mean, just didn't sleep at all, and you can literally see the sun and then moon come out during the video. Like, you can just see the lighting change like all the time. So I hope you guys are well. I really appreciate, you know, you giving me your time and attention to show you this. And I have tons of more videos coming on AI and implementing Claude in your life, not just with trading, like I said, because I'm not really a trader anymore. I just work on my business, which is Dial Labs. If you don't know, I have a video explaining the telecom business that I'm running. And yeah, so let's get into it, lads. Peace. Yo, what is up, guys? Ludo here. Crazy vid bringing you today. Crazy sauce, crazy knowledge. It's midnight right now. Probably gonna be filming until like 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. You don't understand the amount of sauce and the amount of knowledge I'm about to give out in this video. No one on YouTube is making videos like this. No one is talking about this stuff. But they're not getting into the weeds like this, bro. Deadass. So this is gonna be the complete workflow for trading with AI. AI can be used for so many things, like so many things. I leverage AI in everything I do in my life. Everything I do in my life, I leverage AI. AI is the future. I promise you, AI is the future. It is going to change our society and put our society on a crazy path. AI can be used for so many things, but this video is just for trading with AI. I can make so many other videos on what I'm using AI for in my other business, other ventures, other workflows, whatever it might be, if you guys want that. But this is just going to be trading focused, trading workflow focused. It doesn't matter if you're reading quant papers from Google Scholar, if you're building a strategy from scratch, if you already have a strategy that you've developed, right? I'm going to show you how to take all of that, code it with Claude, plot it on TradingView, trade it, automate it, and put it all in the same workflow, right? So we're going to get into this. Get a drink, get a snack, get a notepad, get ready to write some notes, mentally prepare, bro. It's about to be pretty in depth. So yeah. Alright, so like I said, this vid is going to be pretty in depth. It's going to be very long. I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I have just a bunch of segments and I'm just knocking out the segments and filming them one by one. I have no idea what this is going to come out to be, how long, whatever, right? So I'm just letting you know this is going to be a long video and it's going to be a lot of information. And I'm going to tell you who this is for and who this is not for, right? So if you're a trader who wants to use AI in your workflow and in your research, in your coding, and as a review partner, this is for you, bro. This isn't for someone that just wants like a strategy, like a bot automation just handed to them, bro. There's a work on your own element to this, right? You have to do it on your own, bro. That's the part of AI and implementing the AI is it works off of you, off of your mind, right? It's an enhancement. It's an add-on, bro. It's like fucking, it's like popping a perk 30, bro. It's like and you start moving in slow-mo, you know, that's like how you start interacting with the AI and shit, you know, and just interact with the AI and you're golden, bro. And you're golden, and then you just start making money. That's literally how it works. The AI interfaces with you and you start making money. That ass. All right, so back to the real shit. So this is for people who are like quant curious, right? Like I'm quant curious. I am studying economics and quantitative economics, quantitative finance with concentration in operational financial model management, right? So this is really stuff that I'm into and I'm reading up on and like really involved in and shit. So this could also apply to people who are just, you know, into AI, who are into the AI space and are curious on how to implement AI into trading. If, you know, you're just you do trade on the side as a hobbyist or as a side hustle, whatever it might be, and you're curious about how you could implement AI into it. This could be for you too, bro. This is not for people who just want to hand out, like I said, not for people who just want to come in here, be like some signal, copy trade, some bullshit, some malarkey, you know, whatever it might be, bro. I'm not going to hand you some winning golden ticket, bro. Like I'll help you. Message me on Cord. I'll get on a one-on-one with you. We can BC. I'll show you how to set everything up. You can run ideas off of me, bounce ideas off of me, talk with me. I'll give you my thoughts, my inputs, how I would go about certain stuff. I'm an open book, bro. I want to see everyone succeed. I want to see everyone make some fucking P. I want to see everyone fucking mog and life max, bro. That ass. Because I'm tired of seeing all these same people on YouTube, same motherfuckers doing the same shit, bro. It's time us motherfuckers just run shit, bro. And AI is gonna do that for us, bro. That us. So we're gonna get into this. I'm not gatekeeping shit, laying it all here. If you came here for some 5-minute quick bullshit, that's not what this is. This is gonna be some actual sauce, actual knowledge. No one's talking about this. So if you came here for actual, you know, knowledge and you're willing to put in the effort and the time, this video will provide that knowledge to you. And yeah, said, get a snack, grab a drink, get a notepad. Yeah, prepare. Alright, so before we dive into any of the technical stuff, right, I'm going to give you kind of the outline of it and the kind of roadmap of what this vid will kind of entail. So AI is not the edge. The process is the edge. AI is just what lets one person run a process that used to require teams to do, right? So that's the difference between running AI properly and running AI improperly. You have to know how to prompt the AI, how to get in a correct productivity workflow with the AI, right? That's the failure mode a lot of people hit with the AI. Claude is a phenomenal research partner, coder, reviewer, auditor, strategist, whatever you want him to be, if you know how to, use him correctly, right? The strategy for trading and implementing it with Claude comes from you, from a paper, from rules you already use in your own trading, right? And Claude makes that into a loop into this workflow, right? So here's the quick map, 12 parts of this, right? Part 1 is where we're setting up the stack. Part 2 is the prompting masterclass, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you will need to bookmark and really watch through and take good notes of. So parts 3, 4, and 5 are the 3 paths of taking strategy and actually building it to a spec'd out automated workflow. Part 6, we're going to code it. Part 7, plotting it. Part 8, we're going to audit the entire workflow honestly, right? This is the most important part of any workflow, is auditing. Part 10 is the daily review loop. Part 11 is the automation. In part 12, we're doing case study and outro. And I'll give a sneak peek of another AI video and other sauce knowledgeable videos I'm working on there soon that I think will help a lot of people out and that branch off of this as well. So yeah, if you stay all the way through, this will be very beneficial to you, and you'll be able to do everything that I'm doing with AI. And yeah, I'm gonna do a great knowledge transfer here with you guys. Alright, so first things first, you're going to want to download TradingView. Obviously, if you're a trader, you'll probably already know what TradingView is, but if you don't know what TradingView is, you're going to want to go to TradingView and download TradingView. And basically, if you're not on TradingView, you should get on TradingView. If you don't already have TradingView, it's free to start. You can plot indicators, set alerts, manually trade futures off of it. The free tier works if you're just starting out. I personally pay for the premium tier. I don't know, I paid like a few $100 when they had like a sale and just paid for the year or something. What you get for the premium matters for this workflow, because you low-key need the multi-chart layouts, because the AI looks at the multiple charts and that gives the AI context and allows the AI to read other charts in pairs. So if you trade SMT, for example, the AI can analyze the ES chart layout and the NQ chart layout at the same time, right? So that's why you low-key do need to pay for the TradingView Premium. But if you don't want to, you don't have to, because you can just have the bot program to just look at the one chart layout that you're allowed on the free tier of TradingView. Right. You also get more time frames, right, which helps AI in determining your trading strategy, allowing it to look through multiple time frames. You get more indicators per chart, which also helps the AI. More alerts, worth it if you trade daily and are serious about getting into trading, but it's not necessary if you're just starting. If you don't want to pay, you don't have to. Just making that clear. Pine editor is at the bottom. So this right here, as you can see right here, this is the Pine editor. That is what we're going to be using a lot. That's where the Claude Pine script ends up, and we're going to be going in there a lot. As you can see, if you click it, it opens this panel right here. And basically, Claude will help you develop a script after we do a bunch of stuff first, though. Plug in that script in here, and it plots it on chart. It's basically pretty cool, and That's what really kicks off the entire workflow. And I'm getting ahead of myself here, and yeah, but that's the Pine script editor. And this is TradingView, and yeah, I'll leave in the description below to download TradingView if you don't have TradingView, or you can just Google tradingview.com. But from there, go through the steps, create an account if you don't have an account. Alright, so after TradingView, you're going to want to install Claude Code. This is the version of Claude that lives in your terminal. If you only use like Claude using chat on like the desktop app or in the web or on your phone, this is the upgrade, bro. This is miles better. It lives in your terminal. You point it at a folder. It reads everything in that folder, in that directory. You have a conversation with the AI about your folder, directory, your code base, everything, right? And then you just start building your project. You start bouncing ideas off each other, and the workflow begins. Install is one command for installing Claude into your CLI. I'm gonna pull it out right now. I'm gonna put the link to it in the description below, and you're just gonna want to copy and paste this command into your terminal. So you can see right here, you're gonna want to come to code.claude.com/docs/en/quickstart. I'll put the link in the description. And if you're on Mac, you're going to want to use this one-liner right here. We are going to use this one right here that says Windows PowerShell. You're going to want to copy this one right here. We're going to go back to our terminal, and we're going to copy and paste it. And just give it a moment. I'm going to say setting up Claude Code, setting up launcher and shell integration, and if it worked successfully, it should say something like this. One thing to note is this app that I'm using. This is my Pluto terminal app. You can download it from the GitHub below. I recommend downloading this. It's really helpful. I created it. It's free. You can download it from my GitHub. And it basically allows you to just have multiple AI workflows running in parallel. So when we get more into the video, you'll understand what I mean. But we'll have a lot of AIs running at the same time, and it gets complex running all the AI. So what you can do with this is you can open up multiple terminal windows like this and have each AI running in one terminal window, and it's all here laid out nicely. In addition, we have built-in packs. You can load in packs into the AI. You have built-in MCPs that plug in. You have all these MCPs, and then the setup shows you how to set up Claude and check up everything, your Anthropic API key and everything. So I suggest downloading this. You can literally create a project, point it directly to your path, and save that project here. So I suggest downloading this, and you can download it from my GitHub, get it installed, and using this as your primary interface for the AI instead of just the regular Windows terminal. But yeah. So now you can run Claude from any folder, and it will boot fresh a session. I'll show you right here. Just random pane, type in Claude. They'll ask you this, just a quick safety check, just asking if you're okay with giving the AI access to the folder. You're just gonna hit enter, hit yes, and look at that. Now we're in the AI. So I'm gonna close these panes just so you can see a little bit better. But you'll see something like this. Claude Code, and it'll say your username, email, commands with slash, and yeah, and this is basically the starting point of the AI, and this is how we're going to start integrating your work with the AI and actually utilizing the AI. Claude Desktop, the regular app, also works for a lot of this if you really want to use that. But the reason I use Claude Code in the CLI specifically is because it reads files in your project, and it can write code to your project without you having to write code. So this is especially helpful for people who don't really know how to code or aren't really, code savvy, right? You can set up project conventions in a claude.md file, and it'll read it on every launch. But just for now, know that Claude Code in the terminal, that's what we're using. That's what is the standard, what I want you to use. But if you really are only comfortable with using the desktop version and you don't want to use the terminal, you can get away with it. Get away with it too, excuse me. All right, So next, what you need is an API key. All right, so this is the thing that lets Claude Code talk to Anthropic server. You pay as you go per token, not per month. So I know that sounds scary, but when I break down the math later, I promise you it's not that bad. It's like $5-10. Like, it's worth the investment. So step one is you're going to need to go to this website, console.anthropic.com. So sign in or sign up, and you're going to want to hit get API key. Now it's going to say create your first API key. You can name it whatever you want. Leave workspace as default, or if you want to add it into a personal workspace you have, go ahead and do that. Hit create API key. Now this is the only time that you'll see the full key, so copy it. Don't share it with anyone. If anyone sees this key, they can spend your money. I'm not even trolling. I know, it's crazy, right? So make sure no one sees that shit, right? Step two is you're going to need to set it in your Windows environment variable so Claude can find it automatically every session. So I'm about to walk you through that right now. All right, so now that we have our API key from console.anthropic.com, I'm going to leave a command in the description below. It's going to look like a system.environment command. You're going to want to copy that, and where you see paste your key here, you're going to want to paste your key. So you see where it says right here, paste your key. You're going to want to paste your own Anthropic API key right there. So look, I'm about to paste mine, enter. And when you hit enter, there should be no output, and that means success. So just like this, where you see there's nothing that printed, should be just like that. That means that it was successful and that you're on the right path. And then it just goes back to this. That's good. That's what you want to see. So now step three, we're going to close this pane. We're going to close this pane right here. Open up a new pane. Now we're going to type echo $ENB : and Anthropic _API _key. And we should see our key printed back to us. And there it is, our API key printed back to us. So now step four is we have to CD into our project directory. So where we want to have our files for this, trading workflow, right? So me, I have a folder in my mind. I have a YouTube video I made a few weeks ago about Obsidian and incorporating Obsidian with Claude, and how you can use Obsidian to create basically your own personal database with Claude, and Claude can pull from that database. And that's where I store all my AI workflow projects, notes, research, whatever it might be. So within that, I have this demo project that I'm working on to showcase the AI workflow for trading for this video I'm making for you. So you're going to CD into whatever folder you want to use, for this whole AI workflow, right? So I already have a folder. So I'm just going to CD into it like this. Now you can see I'm in the working directory of the folder that I want this AI workflow to, begin in. Now here is the next part, is we're going to type in Claude, and we're going to boot Claude from within this file directory. And Claude should boot up. Do you want to use this API key? For now, we're going to say no, because I have subscription and I have usage less, so there's no need for me to use the API. So that should just initialize a regular Claude session, and there you go. You can see Claude booted up successfully within our working directory of where we want to have our AI workflow files established. And yeah, if this is what you're seeing, then you're making good progress and you're so far following along correctly. Alright, so boom, now we have our API key plugged in. That's good to go. Now, project structure, right? So here's where the workflow gets serious. Project structure. Every trading project I work on lives in its own folder, right? That folder has a claude.md file, which .md stands for markdown file. And it has that claude.md file at the root. The claude.md file is the persistent system prompt for the project. Like, keep that in mind. Write that down if you want. The claude.md file is the persistent system prompt for the project. So Claude reads it at the beginning of every session. You set it up once and it pays off every session because Claude starts its context with that markdown file. So let me show you what mine looks like. So this is the directory that I was talking about. This is where, my claude.md file is. It's basically the center of everything, like I was saying earlier. Claude reads it at the beginning of every section. So we have here the claude.markdown file, the research folder that is for papers, extraction notes, like thoughts, idea, stuff like that. Strategies is the actual strategy specs and like Pine script files. The ops is your run book, and then your journal is like, your daily trade journal. So now I'm going to open the claude.md file and I'm going to run through that and show you guys what that's about. So this is my Claude markdown file, and I'm going to go over it with you guys to show you the structure and how it's set up because it's very important. So here at the top, we have the who I am. So I start off by telling Claude my background, my proficiency, my level, just everything about me. So that way when it answers, it pitches all its answers at the right level. Like, it doesn't treat me like, some dumb person or like I'm the smartest person in the world and know what everything is, right? So after who I am, we have project mission, which states the mission of the project. So this demo project exists to build 3 example strategies live on camera for the AI trading workflow masterclass video. Basically, the whole point of this project is to demonstrate the AI workflow for this YouTube video. Next, after project mission, we have working style, how the AI interacts with you, right? So blunt, direct, push back when I'm wrong, no hallucinated stats. That's a big one for trading specifically because Claude likes to please you, We do not want a Claude that's trying to please us. We want a Claude that's trying to be right, bro. We want a Claude that's fucking a brick wall, bro. After that, we have audit discipline, which is the 4-step audit that becomes a project rule, and Claude will remind me if I try to skip a step. And that's the value, and that's what separates this workflow from like other shit, because it audits it for you. Next is Pine script conventions. So BS, parameterized inputs, comment conditions. Next, conversation patterns, hypothesis refinement, code debug loop, audit interrogation. Each one is a Claude behavior pattern. That's basically what it is. Next, model routing, folder structure, position sizing, basically all directives that Claude reads at the beginning of each session. And that's what the purpose of this claude.markdown file is. So now let me start a session and prove that the AI can read what this is showing. Alright, so look, I'm going to go into my pane where I already have Claude booted up in my directory. And I'm just going to type right here, read claude.md and tell me what kind of work I want to do. So it's going to be thinking there for a second. So if everything works well and everything's set up and pointed to the right directory, it should tell me. So here we go. Read all 3 claude.md layers. Work you want here. Immediate context. Build 3 example trading strategies live on camera for the AI trading workflow masterclass video. 1 per origin path. Path A, Zeratini 2024 5-minute orb paper. Path B, VWAP reversion. Path C, pivot point bounce long only. NQ 15 minutes. So that's a lot of bullshit, right? But basically what those are strategies that I just pulled randomly from online, from, papers and quant posts and just a bunch of different sources. I can give out my sources or put a whole guide on YouTube on how to find paper strategies, all this shit. And I just picked these because I'm just going to demo like how you can implement a strategy in the workflow process, right? I'm not giving away my strategy, hell no, but I'm just picking a random strategy just to fill the gap of, showing you how to implement strategy. And that way you can plug and play and use your own strategy or whatever other strategy you want to find or test or forward test, back test, whatever it might be, right? So you can see that the audit discipline is baked in. It told me the 3 example strategies that are declared, the layers within the file, and every session that you start inherits all of this. And that's the great thing about it, is Claude will start every session with all of this. So you could put a bunch of stuff in there, right? And every session, Claude will read it and he'll automatically know what's going on, and he's already oriented. And that's just so wonderful, because one of the pitfalls with AI nowadays is context and the limits with context and memory. And, you know, there's ways to get around it, and there's been improvements and stuff, but it's still really truly lacking that true memory, you know. But the full template is in the description for a claude.markdown file. You can download it. I'm going to put it in the description, and you can just, you know, drag it into your working directory, and yeah, it'll be good to go. And yeah, let's keep going. All right, so next section, MCP servers. MCP servers. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. Okay, quick version. These are little like servers that let Claude reach external tools. Without MCPs, Claude is just talking to you. But with MCPs, Claude can read your files, search the web, talk to GitHub, create your database, talk to your trading platform, which we're going to set up to talk to TradingView. And yeah, 4 MCPs that are good baselines to start, good to know, good to familiarize yourself with, especially for in this trading workflow. 1, the file system MCP. Claude can read and write files in your project. 2, the web search MCP, Brave or similar. Claude searches the web without you leaving the terminal. GitHub MCP, you can version control your strategies from inside Claude. So if you have, you know, if you're pushing code to GitHub and that's where you're storing your projects and your AI workflow and your trading code and everything, you can, you know, pick the releases and use the GitHub MCP to control which strategy you're using from which release. And final one, probably like market data MCP, if one exists for your broker. So if you have a broker that supports MCPs, I don't know, look it up, whatever broker you use, see if they have MCP. If they do, that's pretty cool. So yeah, now I'm going to show you inside the Claude session what MCPs are installed and how to check to see what MCPs are installed. And yeah, just basically give you an overview of MCP. So right here in our pane, we're just going to do /MCP. It's going to come up, manage MCP servers. You're going to hit enter. And as you can see right here, we have 3 servers. User MCPs. We have the TradingView MCP, which is connected with 78 tools. We have the Google Drive MCP, which needs authentication. I'll probably need to log in or something again. And the Gmail MCP, which is connected and loaded 12 tools. So there you can see these MCP servers are connected, and you just get there by doing, going into your Claude session and doing /MCP and hitting enter. So how I can show you guys that Claude is actively using an MCP is I can go into the session right here and I can do read strategies -path -b -WAP -reversion.md and tell me the entry conditions in 2 sentences. So that's going to use the file system MCP because it's going to use the built-in file access to read the project file. So here we can see what it printed back to us. Long entry. Price extends greater than 30 ticks below session VWAP within first 60 minutes of regular trading hours. The most recent 5-minute bar closes above its open. Momentum reversal, and current time is inside the first 90 minutes of the session. Short is symmetric, greater than 30 ticks above VWAP. Latest 5-minute bar closes below its open, same 9:30 to 11 window. So there you can see the AI, which is Claude, is hooked up to the file system MCP, and it used it to read and write project file. Yeah, and if you want to install, you know, a new MCP, you can do Claude MCP add, followed by whatever the package name is. Brave search is a good one. If you use Brave, if you have Brave browser, you just will need an API. from Brave. It is free. You just have to search it up. Just search up Brave API key and you can get one for free. And yeah. Alright, so now I'm about to show you how to download the TradingView MCP to your Claude. So that way your Claude can now start interacting with TradingView. The easiest path to install without messing it up, like, is literally just to have Claude install it for you. You can do that. So I'm gonna leave another prompt in the description below. It looks something like this. If you can see my terminal, will look something like this. Install the TradingView MCP server, clone the link to the GitHub link to the MCP server, run npm install, add it to my MCP config, and launch TradingView with a debug port. Then verify the connection with TV_health_check. So literally put that into your Claude session right here. Into your Claude session, press enter, Claude will run it, he will install it for you. And if you have issues, leave a comment. I can help you out. But if you have an issue, Claude should be able to figure out on his own. I mean, that guy's pretty smart, bro. This is the easiest path. I could show you guys the manual way to do it, but I already know a lot of people are going to mess it up because it's pretty technical. But so after you install that, you're going to want to reopen a new pane. Go back into the directory, like CD back into the directory of your folder, right? Of where your folder is for this whole entire AI workflow. Start up a new Claude session with just typing in Claude, and then you're gonna paste use TV_health check to verify TradingView is connected. That's where you're gonna paste in a new pane. After in the old pane you ran that prompt from earlier to install the TradingView MCP. So when you run this, it should return success, and that's the install confirmation. So then what you can do is you can go back into your Claude and you can do, like I said earlier, /MCP, and you should be able to see TradingView MCP here connected, right? Now we're gonna do like a live demo. So this Claude session has my MCP connected, and I'm just gonna tell it, using the TradingView MCP, tell me what symbol and time frame is my chart on, the current price, and the last 5 candles. We're gonna wait for Claude's response. So this is good. You see, I got an error real time. See, all 3 failed. CDP connection dead. TradingView desktop not running, or MCP can't reach it. Need to launch, reconnect first. So that happens sometimes. Sometimes the connection, gets interrupted and the MCP can't connect with TradingView. So you can see it finished now, and it's asking us to restart TradingView now with CDP debugging enabled, and it's going to close our current chart session. So I have TradingView open up on my other monitor, so it's going to close TradingView. I'm just going to use these arrow keys to navigate, and I'm just going to hit yes, restart now with enter. And this is good. I'm glad it's showing errors, so that way you can see how I would walk through it. And I'm telling you, the AI does most of it, bro. Like, okay, you know what I mean to an extent. Like, the AI will work for you, bro. The AI will figure it out. So now you can see it's launching TradingView, and look, you can see the bright white light. That's TradingView opening up. And now look, it's gonna read it and use the MCP to directly interface with TradingView and be able to pull live data from what's happening on the chart. Because you know, before you would have to take screenshots, send that to the AI. The AI would tell you, whatever bullshit, right? But with the MCP, now the AI is able to pull real-time live data because it can pull data from the live chart. It can scan the live chart and see what's forming in real time. Isn't that crazy, bro? Crazy, bro. Crazy. So you can see Claude finished, returned the open, high, low, and close, and it crunched for 4 minutes and 40 seconds. And yeah, I'm glad you guys saw that. I'm gonna speed that up because I'm not gonna make you guys sit through all that while it was loading. And so that's how you install the TradingView MCP server. Really easy, really straightforward. Now I'm gonna show you how the AI uses this MCP to now create a Pine script that will display on your chart. So right now my chart is completely blank. I have nothing on my chart, literally nothing on my chart. The AI is going to use the MCP to go into TradingView and generate me a Pine script, and you'll see it populate on my TradingView. You can see working right now. Oh, so look, there you go. Look, it opened it up automatically. And this is all AI, bro. I ain't doing this. It's all AI. It's not me. Now, let's hit this add to chart button, and boom, look at that. Our own VWAP reversion long indicator that the AI coded for us. And now we can, later on, we can take this indicator and have the AI read off the indicator and use that to trigger entries or exits to trades. So this is really the key moment in this whole course, is getting this MCP set up, because without this, the AI isn't even able to communicate with TradingView whatsoever. So if you have this set up, you're literally in a great spot. Yeah, so all links will be in the description for everything you need to be downloading, all the prompts, all the commands, everything. So just, use that resource. All right, so now MCP out of the way. Boom, bam, bop, done. Now Pine script. Pine script. We're gonna be looking at Pine script a lot, okay? Especially in this video. Claude writes most of it for us, but you should be able to read it, not write it from scratch. Just read it well enough to audit what Claude gave you. If you want video on Pine script, I can make videos on Pine script. I can make videos on guides, on everything, bro. Make a comment, let me know. Every script starts with / version. If Claude defaults to v4, reject it and ask for v5. Every version should be v5 of Pine script. It's just the newest one. It's just what it should be. 2, script type. So indicator or strategy. We use indicator. Indicators plot signals and you take the trade manually. Strategies try to simulate trades inside TradingView's backtester And that backtester has fill engine quirks that I don't trust for production. So the indicator plus the manual trade is the move for the first layer of this setup, right? We can get into the automation layer later, but right now we're going to code just like a basic manual layer first. So 3 is your inputs. So anything you'll tweak later, make it an input. Hardcode only structural constants, right? 4, condition becomes plot. Boolean signal triggers a marker, and that's basically all an indicator does, right? 5, plot shape for markers, plot for lines like VWAP, BG color sparingly. The marker is your trade signal. 6, alert condition. Wires the signal to TradingView's alert system, so when the condition fires, your phone pings. I'm going to show you how to set it up so that way when a trade executes or the AI analyzes the chart and plots a setup, you get an alert on your phone. Specifically through Telegram. It's just the easiest way to set up alerts on your phone that way with any sort of bot or automation. And that's really it. Minimum readable script, 9 lines, complete VWAP reversion long indicator. You're not going to be like a Pine script wizard, bro, after one video, but you'll be able to read what Claude gives you and call anything out weird. I have a Pine script cheat sheet that I'm going to leave in the description. And yeah, it's going to help you just understand Pine script and help audit it. And you can also upload it to Claude and have it double check against that. So that's Pine script v5. You want to make sure you're really auditing the Pine script. And usually if there's errors in the Pine script, your indicator or your strategy won't load correctly in the TradingView and you'll know right away. And so you have to go back to Claude and tell it, hey, the Pine script you wrote for me wasn't good. It's not loading on TradingView. There's an error or a bug somewhere. And usually he'll figure it out. But yeah, that was Pine script. And after Pine script, now I'm gonna get into prompting. And this is really where I want people to pay attention, because this is where, you know, really knowing how to use the AI comes into play. Alright, so here I have this that I made for the anatomy of a great prompt, right? Specifically a great trading prompt. So most AI videos black box this. I asked, here's the response kind of structure, and that's more of a search query than like a workflow. Like, I don't really understand how people can go and invoke the AI like that. Like, that's not the proper way to invoke it. So real prompting needs structure. So 5 components make up a prompt, right? 1 is role. Tell Claude what kind of operator it is for this task. 2 is context. Asset, time frame, what's been tried. 3, task, verb, extract, code, audit, critique, not a question, a task. Next, constraints, what not to do, what format, and finally, verification. Restate my request and flag ambiguity before answering. Saves you 3 turns of correction. That's the good part. Verification, the auditing. Alright, so now I'm going to show you an example of a good prompt versus a bad prompt. So a bad prompt would be something like this. What's a good trading strategy for NQ? And it's gonna, you know, calculate, give us something. You know, this is just like generic query. I don't think, yeah, see, like this is a bad prompt. Like you're just gonna get random 5 strategies, probably never even tested, just some bullshit. Like look at this, trend pullback, VWAP, and opening range breakout, right? So just some random, like the most fucking mainstream strategies probably and shit, right? So that's just the AI. Like that's what makes a bad prompt, and that's how you can see that if you give the AI a bad prompt, you're gonna get bad results back from the AI. So now this is what a good prompt looks like. You are a quant research partner with an intraday microstructure buys. I trade NQ futures on the 5-minute and 15-minute timeframes during a New York Open session. I'm interested in liquidity sweep mean reversion setup specifically. Price taking out the prior session's high or low and reversing within 30 minutes. Ask, walk me through how a quant would formalize this into a testable Specify A, the precise entry trigger, B, the precise exit condition, C, the holding time cap, D, what data I'd need to backtest, E, what would invalidate the hypothesis. Constraints. Don't give me a finished strategy. Give me the testing framework. Don't optimize parameters. Treat any thresholds as variables. I'll test later. Don't use the words guaranteed, always, or never. So boom. A-class prompt. That's how your prompt should be structured. There's a way to structure your prompts. So you can see here that Claude finished up and he basically gave me this. I'm not going to read through this, but he basically allowed me to pick strategy, sweep and reversal, the exit conditions, holding time cap, data to backtest. You see how it restates my request to, flags ambiguity, gives me structured testing framework, not a strategy, but a framework, right? So this is the same AI, but two different prompts and two completely different answers and outputs. If you ask Claude for a winning strategy, you're gonna get fucking caca. But if you ask Claude to help you test your strategy and help you, set up this workflow properly, you can get a quant team in your terminal. That's how powerful this AI is, bro. This AI is smart, bro. If you know how to direct it and guide it and audit it and walk it through the workflow and be patient and devote time to it, you'll see success with this, bro. Trust. This didn't happen overnight. Even though it's AI, it doesn't still happen overnight. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the Claude Markdown file again, but what specifically makes a good Claude Markdown file for trading, right? We talked about it earlier and what it is, and remember, it's the prompt that Claude reads at the beginning of every session. Remember, he reads it for context at the beginning of every session, and we're going to talk about how we can optimize this Markdown file for trading specifically. So one is identity, who you are, your proficiency in Pine, stats, and Python. So Claude pitches at the right level. Do not tell Claude you was a comp sci major, you got fucking certs, you was at Cyber Patriot, and you was doing all this other bullshit, because Claude will come back to you and you won't know what the fuck is going on. If you're a fucking noob, tell Claude you're a noob and he break down everything way more simpler for you, like you're a noob. Dead ass. So number two, project mission. What this project is for, what's out of scope, and it keeps Claude in the lane, right? 3, working style. Blunt, pushback, no hallucinated stats, big one for trading. Claude wants to please. We want a Claude that's trying to be right, not trying to please. 4, the load-bearing one. Audit discipline. The 4-step audit becomes a project rule. Claude reminds me if I skip a step. 5, time script conventions. V5, parameterize, comment it. 6, conversation patterns, hypothesis refinement, code debug loop, audit interrogation. Each one's a Claude behavior I expect. 7, model routing, Haiku for extraction, Sonnet for default, Opus for high stakes audits. So if you don't know, Anthropic has 3 models, Sonnet, Opus, and Haiku. Sonnet and Haiku are the cheaper ones. Opus is like the Einstein model, like that's like their flagship, super smart, fucking like just fucking Nikolai Tesla Einstein level fucking intelligence, bro. And that one's their most expensive so the model routing helps because it helps if you're lower on cash, or if you're someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of money on tokens, or using your API key with Claude. So using the cheaper models for just simple tasks like data extraction or refinement is more than perfectly okay. 8, what not to do. So don't invent strategies, don't grid search without flagging multiple testing, don't summarize away the math, right? We want precision, we want flawless execution from this AI. So the template's going to be in the description as well for this markdown file. It's free, you can customize the bracketed sections, drop at the root of any trading project, and that's your new markdown file for that project, and Claude reads it at the beginning of every session. All right, so now we're going to take a moment to talk about context management. So context management is super important whenever you're doing anything with AI nowadays. So 4 tools. There's 4 tools to manage context across a long session. When you've been using Claude for a long time, you're going to be, hitting context limits, and you're going to need to know how to manage that context, right? So there's 4 tools available to you. You have your claude.md, which is your Claude markdown file. You set it once, every future session inherits it. Next, you have your pinned context paste. 5 to 10 lines at the start of a new session telling Claude where you are, what you're working on, what you've already tried, file attachments. Paste the actual data, the actual code, the actual paper. Don't paste your summary of it because your summary is wrong. Paste the actual chat logs, actual files, actual everything. And explicit checkpoints as well. Every 10 to 15 chats with the AI, make sure you're telling it to summarize where you are and to save it. Save it into your mind, save it into its memory, save it into a file. And this will catch the AI drifting before it costs you tokens, and worst of all, before it costs you a bad trade, right? And a bad auditing. So there's all this stuff that we have to implement and all these, avenues of using AI that we have to keep in mind. So how you can tell if your AI has drifted, right? 4 signs. It generates code that does not match the spec you agreed on, like sessions ago, chats ago, right? It forgets a parameter you established. Hedges with if you want me to instead of just executing the thing you want it to execute. Repeats prior answers in slightly different words. When you see any of those, do not just argue with Claude. Like, don't just talk back to Claude and tell him, oh no, this is what I said, this is what I said. Just paste your summary of the chat that you previously had, export it, or just copy and paste it directly into Claude, and it will save you so much headache and so much time in the future. The AI drifting, hallucinating, because it's ran out of context. Alright, so now, still on the topic of context, 7 things I'm going to give you that nobody talks about. Real sauce. These took me months to figure out on context, and I'm going to give you the shortcut. Alright, number 1, lost in the middle. There's actual research on this. Claude weighs the early and late parts of context more heavily than the stuff in the middle. Okay, so if you bury a load bearing rule in turn 15 of a 30 turn conversation, Claude's gonna miss it. Same applies inside a single prompt. Your most important instruction goes at the start or at the very end, never in the middle. Number 2, recency wins conflicts. When 2 of your instructions conflict, Claude weighs the more recent one. So when you're correcting Claude, the correction goes at the end of your message, not buried in some long re-explanation. Ignore what I said before about X. Here's the new spec. That line lives at the bottom of your message, not the middle. So if you're, drafting up a prompt, right, to talk to Claude, you want your important thing to be at either the beginning or the end. So if you want it to say the line like, ignore what I said before about X, here's the new spec, you want to put that at the end, because if you could put that in the middle, it's not going to weigh it as much as if you put it on the end. So just keep that in mind when you're drafting up your prompts, to keep your relevant and really important information at the beginning and end of your prompt, right? Number 3, huge, prompt caching, okay? This is free money. Anthropic supports prompt caching now. Your Claude markdown file, your pinned context, and any large reference material, Anthropic caches it, pay full price once, then about 10% of normal price on every subsequent turn. For a long trading session where you're hitting Claude 50, 100 times, it's like an 8 times cost reduction on your context costs. Almost nobody knows about this. Search prompt caching in Anthropic docs, turn it on, and you'll be Gucci, bro. Number 4, tool calls bloat context. So every MCP tool call dumps its output into your context, right? So that's using up your tokens. So if you ask it to read a 200 kilobyte file via file system MCP, that's 200 kilobytes of context spent. Read 5 indicators via the TradingView MCP. Each one gets context. So use compact mode, use summary mode when you can, because you can see where stuff gets context heavy. Next, study filter. Whatever the tool offers to keep output lean, the TradingView MCP specifically has a study filter parameter. So it targets one indicator at a time, and it doesn't read whole files when you need just 5 lines. Number 5, end of session handoff. This is a game changer most people miss, like in their entire AI workflow. And a lot of people, you know, stop using AI and don't really sign off. Like when you stop using the AI, there's a way to sign off on it. So that way, the next time you come back, it remembers what to do and you guys can pick up right where you left off. There's a certain way to go about ending your session with the AI. So this is really a game changer, right? Before you close a session, ask Claude to write a one-page handoff for the next session. Include decisions made, open questions, where we left off, anything next session needs to know. Paste that into your next session as your pinned context, right? Like we talked about earlier. Persistent state across sessions. It compounds week over week, and game over for the people who start fresh every day, because those people are who don't know about this shit existing, or like, bro, those people gotta doing some crazy shit. Number 6, subagents, right? Subagents have clean context. They inherit 0 of your conversation noise. So when your main session is polluted, you've gone in circles, tried 4 approaches, and Claude's confused, instead of trying to clean that session up, just spawn in a subagent, hand it the spec, get a clean read, bro. We're gonna do this live in the next segment, and I'll show you how the agent and subagents can run in parallel. Number 7, last one, when Claude's answer feels off, don't argue with the answer, ask Claude to rephrase your question, right? Sometimes you'll see when you're conversing with the AI gives you kind of a weird response. It's like, it kind of speaks in that like AI, like English, bro. And you're just like, what the fuck this guy just say to me? So you have to, you know, tell it, say that again. Can you simplify that down for me? And can you know, rephrase that for me? So Claude will rephrase it for you, and now you can see what Claude thought you were asking versus what you actually asked when you ask it to rephrase. So this surfaces, you know, the misunderstanding, so you correct the question. You're not fighting the answer, and it saves you 5 turns of going in circles and saves you tokens and context. So next time you feel that like Claude is missing the point, just simply ask him to rephrase or reiterate what he thinks is going on. So yeah, this was context, and this was some pointers on context, and hopefully this was good. Hopefully you wrote some of this down and you apply this when you're drafting your prompts and when you're just using AI in general to 1, save money, and 2, know how to use AI properly and remain in the context limits so you can your AI be more efficient and have actual good memory and good retention. All right, so let's say, right, that in this pane to the left right here, right here, we had a bot running. We had Claude actively analyzing TradingView. And in this pane right here, let's say we don't have anything. We don't have anything running. I have a fresh Claude session waiting for our prompt and our input, right? Here we go. We are not going to disturb this pane because this is our main workflow with our main AI agent running, right? So I don't want to disturb this workflow. So what I can do is I can open up a new pane right here, right? Open up a new pane, and I can start a Claude session, right? In the directory where my, you know, trading project workflow is, or whatever project you want to work on, whatever project you want AI to be involved in, you open AI within that folder directory in your terminal. Imagine, you know, processes running here, and I want to spawn subagent to do a, you know, strategy critique while this main workflow is running, and I don't have to mess up the context or memory of this workflow. So what we're going to do is I have this prompt here. I want you to spawn a subagent for an independent strategy review. Pass it this strategy spec. Long only pivot point, bounce on NQ 15 min during regular trading hours. Entry bar low within 5 ticks of PP or S1. Bar closes above pivot. ATR daily 50 points. Exit new pivot above. Blah 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 blah. You understand? Boom. Paste. It's gonna run for us. So it's gonna spin up. It's not gonna look for a prior conversation or anything. It's It's going to review the spec in isolation. It's not tied in any way to our existing workflow if we had one running actively right here. So as you can see here, Claude finished and it came back with this report, and it gave me this, gave me all this information, these critiques on the strategy, and it flags, you know, what I should test. And yeah, this is just a use case for an agent. You can have multiple agents and you can upload up multiple panes, right? And have tons of agents running, all doing different things. But there's like all types of use cases for agents. You can create an agent to have it literally serve any function or role. So this was basically sub-agents and how to invoke sub-agents, and just to show you that you can spawn sub-agents that work in isolation while the main session works, and the sub-agents do focused work. Useful when you need, you know, your second opinion without polluting your main session. You want to run multiple things in parallel. So yeah, next we're going to talk about cost and token economy. Alright, so last piece of prompting infrastructure before we get into like the templates that I'm going to give y'all that will kind of help y'all and put you on a better path than I was when I first started with this whole process, bro. So cost and token economy. The smart play here is routing to the right model, okay? Routing the right model to the right task. Like I said earlier, Anthropic, three models you need to know. Opus, highest quality, slowest, most expensive. Roughly 15 bucks per million input tokens, 75 per million output. That's the senior quant in the room. You bring it out for hard audits. That's like, I'm telling you, the Einstein freaking model. Final reviews before you deploy real capital, right? That's when you bring it out. Statistical computations where precision matters and a bad answer costs you money. That's the use case for Opus. Sonnet is your production default, about 3 per million input, 15 output. That's the bulk of your work. Strategy building, time script iteration, daily reviews. Haiku, it's the cheapest and the fastest. Use it for high volume, low stakes, roughly $1 per million input and 5 per million output. Pulling claims out of paper, parsing a journal entry, classifying signals, quick Pine script fixes. Don't use Sonnet or Opus and waste your tokens on simple stuff like that. Haiku can do it really fast, and it's not as dumb as people think it is. Like, it can still do stuff. It's still very, very capable. 5 tactics that compound. All right, cost saving tactics. First, route by task, not by habit. Most people just use whichever model, and that's how they just burn money. Match the model to the stakes. Second, prompt caching. We covered this in a past segment, but worth repeating because I don't really see people talking about it or doing it. Your Claude Markdown, your pinned context, and any long reference material, Anthropic caches it. You just pay once and 10% every time you recall it, and you save mad money. Especially if you're trading crazy, it's worth it. It's worth the investment to do that. But if you're not, then it's not, and you can just get away with just paying for API tokens, which comes out to like 20 bucks a month, bro. If you're like trading every day, running it maybe like 10 times a day, bro, it'll come out to like 20 bucks a month, I think. They're out there, 20 to 30 bucks a month. Third, compact mode on tool calls. So every MCP call dumps output into your context, so it takes away hella tokens, right? Use summary mode. So use the study_filter on the TradingView MCP and target one thing, not everything. So one indicator, one PD array, one confluence, whatever it might be, right? Fourth, trim attachments. Don't paste a 40-page paper. If you need 2 sections, excerpt what you need and just leave it at that. Do not paste all of that, right? Fifth, start fresh sessions sooner, right? The longer you leave a session open and you walk away, it will eat up your usage to resume that session hours after it's gone by, because you're having to resume all that chat and all that context into the AI. So, you know, stale context cost tokens. So if what I mean by stale context is if it's the AI's been sitting there for a long time, you haven't been chatting with it, and you decide that you want to resume right where it is, it's going to eat up your tokens and your usage. And that's why I say it's important. There's a certain way to sign off with the AI and shut down your session and save everything. That way, even if context gets stale and you haven't chatted with your AI in a while, the AI has saved everything to a file and knows where to pick back up and doesn't eat your context. And you can just open a new chat fresh without eating your context or usage, and prompt it with either your markdown file or that handoff document. Like, I just did kind of the rough math, like just to give people an idea of like just to eyeball it, right? So 1 million tokens on Claude is roughly 750,000 words, right? About 3 like normal length novels, about 10 to 20 long trading sessions of back and forth with Claude. Realistically, if you're actively trading like a lot and that's your work, you're gonna pay $5 to $30 a week. That's like if you're casual. 5 like to 10 if you're casual. If you're hammering it though, you're gonna be paying like 20 to $30. It's fucking AI, bro. It's intelligence. That's what you're paying for. That's what AI is. It's intelligence on demand. That's what these companies are fulfilling as a service. AI is literally intelligence on demand. You're paying a subscription to have access to these fucking machine models, right? That are super fucking intelligent and smart and can answer problems and fix issues and solve things. And so when you have access to that and you utilize it like this, the value is insane. So yeah, this stack is crazy, and I love AI and it's super useful. And yeah, now I'm gonna get into the prompt templates and show you those prompts, and you can get those downloaded. Alright guys, so this is a very important segment and I need you guys to pay attention because this is going to help you a lot, and I'm giving you guys this as a resource to hopefully put you on a better path than I was when I first started this. So these 10 prompts I use in every part of my workflow for trading with Claude. All 10 are going to be in a free PDF in the description below, and you can customize them for your project, copy them, evolve them from your own. Make them work for you, make them fit you. Don't just take what I'm doing and go copy and paste it. I'm going to walk you through what each prompt does and why it matters, and then you can download the actual prompts in the PDF. So number 1, the first prompt that you're going to see is the paper extraction prompt. So you drop an academic paper into Claude. This prompt pulls out the testable hypothesis in 5 clean numbered points. Not the literature review fluff, not the abstract, the hypothesis only, the entry exit conditions, time frame, claim performance, biggest weakness, and all in 5 points. This is your daily driver if you're reading any quant literature at all. Number 2, strategy codification. Plain English rules go in. Pine script v5 comes out. Indicator script, grammarized, commented line by line. This is how you take a discretionary strategy you've been trading by hand for years and finally turn it into something you can actually plot on a chart. Yes, yes, yes. Number 4, this one's the big one. Backtest audit. Look at the graphic. It's got the star next to it for a reason. This is the 4-step audit. Hold out, Bonferroni, Bootstrap, walk forward, all baked into a single prompt. You run it on any backtest. Claude walks you through every single step. It tells you whether your result passes. It ends with a deployment verdict, green, yellow, or red. And this prompt alone is worth setting up the entire Claude stack just to have access to. This is the deep dive prompt we're going to do. We're going to do a deep dive on the audit methodology. Number 5, daily review. Paste today's journal. Claude flags planned deviations, execution issues, time of day drift, catches the stuff you'd miss yourself because you were in the trade. Number 6, weekly drift check. Same idea as daily review, but across the week. Compares this week's execution to your prior 4. Catches behavior drift you never noticed from inside it. Number 7, independent subagent review. The pattern we just did live a couple segments ago. Spawns a clean subagent, hands it your own spec, and you get a critique without any conversation pollution in your main, workflow. Use it when you've been working on something for hours and you've lost objectivity. So we demonstrated that earlier. Number 8, Pine script debug. Paste your broken code, paste the symptom, Claude finds the 1 or 2 lines causing the issue, doesn't rewrite the whole script, 3 iteration cap, and if you're past 3 rounds, just restart with more context. Number 9, cost and slippage sanity check. Take any backtest result, stress test it under 2x worse fills, 50% wider spread, doubled commissions, and if your edge survives 2x worse cost, you've got a real edge. If it dies, the result is brittle and you'd lose money on live execution. This separates real strategies from backtest fantasies. And number 10, strategy retirement check. You've been live trading something for 30 trades, 50 trades, whatever the amount is. Compare your live performance against the backtest 95% confidence interval. Claude tells you whether to continue, pause, or retire. Most retail traders never run this check and they hold dead strategies forever. Don't do that. Always be improving, always be looking to adapt, to improve, to implement new things. When I was first starting trading, bro, I learned everything. I was a sponge. I tried to learn every single strategy I could, tried to learn everything that I could about trading, and I took different aspects of each strategy and implemented it all into one. And I took what worked with something and mixed it in my own thing. What worked in another strategy, in another system, I brought it and implemented it into my own. And you know, there was a point in my trading where I had like 30 charts open and I wasn't always looking at them, but I just had 30 charts where I just had different stuff marked out on each chart. Yeah, there's always refining to do in trading, always improvement, and trading is a journey about oneself. It teaches you a lot about yourself. So these are the 10 prompts. Make sure you download the PDF in the description. It's going to be very helpful for you getting on the right path with AI. Alright, so this segment, where to find papers. Alright, so this is just one avenue of finding strategies or figuring out how you want to implement trading into the AI, what you want to do with trading specifically. If you're trying to do stocks, options, futures, I mean, I could get into so many courses and videos on how to set up AI for options and other stuff, but this is specifically focusing on futures for now. This is the path like a lot of people skip because they think that there's not much value in this. But bro, the people who are writing these papers are fucking smart, bro, and they know what they're talking about. And regardless of if the alpha of the strategy is fucking ass, it's good to immerse yourself in those papers and read them and get an understanding of like what the fuck is going on, right? Like, be curious, bro. Be curious. Be wanting to understand and look what the fuck is going on. You wanting to, you know, have complete understanding and complete transparency and not have any questions in your mind about what's going on. You know, AI should help you, not hinder you. So, I mean, this is a really great avenue to get strategies and develop ideas and systems for trading. First one, Google Scholar. This is your broad discovery tool, free citations index that searches across academic journals, preprints, thesis, all of it. Most of the results point to free PDFs though, so you can download them. But this is where you start when you don't even know what you're looking for. You type in the topic, see what comes back, follow up on the citations, and you go down a rabbit hole. Just clicking a couple hours on Scholar and you'll know the landscape of whatever you're searching. It's like Wikipedia almost. Second one, SSRN, stands for Social Science Research Network. This is the one heavy on finance and economics, and most papers there are free pre-publication PDFs. This is where the Zaratini orb paper lives, and we're going to do a live walkthrough on that paper. It's a paper that I pulled, and it looked pretty interesting, the strategy and, you know, the claims that this researcher was speaking about the strategy. So I'm going to, you know, pick that paper as my strategy, and that's what I'm going to choose to implement into this AI and show y'all how you can implement a strategy using AI and connect it to your TradingView. So SSRN has the best signal to noise for actually tradable research because it skews finance specific. If you're only going to use one source, it's the source I would use is SSRN. Third one, last source, RZIV, specifically the QFin section. That's rziv.org. RZIV is the preprint server for the sciences. QFin is the quantitative finance corner. This one's heavy on the math and the machine learning approaches. So if you're more into the machine learning stuff, this will, be more good for you. Cutting edge, but more technical for sure. And all papers are free. There's no paywall. And if you're comfortable with statistics and you want what's coming out of, an academic frontier right now, this is where you go for the top of the line papers. So search patterns that work. There are keyword combinations that constantly surface tradable research. Market microstructure, that's like an academic term for the mechanics of how orders fill and how prices form. You can search using a term like that. Liquidity provision for anything around order book dynamics. Intraday momentum for trend following research at short time frames. Opening range breakout. Overnight drift for anything about gap effects and after hours behavior. Finally, volume profile for time and sales derived research. So those 6, keywords you can use, and they will give you years of reading material, bro. Years of reading material. And one more thing is that there's something called the 5 paper rule, bro. When you're researching a topic, you don't read one paper. You have to pull 5, and you read the 3 best ones together. You read all 5. You determine which of the 5 are the best 3, and then you read those 3, and you really read them, and then you ingest them into your Claude is what I would recommend. Just reading one paper, it's like ass, bro. The paper's author probably has like a specific data set and a specific bias, specific instrument, a specific time period, and the structural insight comes from the overlap across multiple papers and multiple insight, right? So when 3 different authors with 3 different data sets are all finding the same pattern, that's a real edge. When one paper finds something nobody else has confirmed, right? That's an anomaly that probably doesn't survive. So 5 papers, 3 best, read it together. That's how you actually learn from literature instead of, fucking cookie cutting, author's claim, or doing whatever bullshit. So next segment, we're going to get into the how to read these papers efficiently. And, you don't read them like a textbook, by the way. You let Claude do the heavy lifting. We're using AI, G. Keep up. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to read a quant paper. So you found a paper. Good job, G. So proud of you. You found a paper. Now what? So this segment is going to be on how to read quant paper. How to read it without losing your mind. Because most academic papers are 30 to 50 pages and 80% of the words don't matter to you as a trader, deadass. And the trick is reading order plus letting Claude do the heavy lifting. So section 1, abstract. The TLDR sits right at the top. 30-second skim, read it, ask yourself one question. Do I actually care about what this paper is claiming? If the answer is no, close the PDF. Move on. There's another 5 papers in your search results. Don't waste your time on something that literally doesn't sound interesting to you. Section 2, data section. Skip the literature review and go straight to data. What instruments did they test? What time frame? What sample size? Is this real broker data or simulated? A paper that backtests on 1,000 SPY trades from 2010 to 2020 is way different than a paper that backtests on 100,000 NQ tick prints from last quarter. The data section tells you whether the paper's findings have any chance of applying to your conditions, the conditions that you want to trade. Section 3, results table. Now you're going to skip ahead to the headline numbers. Sharp ratio, win rate, average return, drawdown, p-value. This is the did it actually work section. Read it, internalize it, the numbers, process it, but don't fall in love with them yet because we're going to audit them and we're going to see if motherfuckers is telling the truth about their research and their strategy and shit. But just now know that, the paper makes claims and the paper has a results table that displays all that information. Win rate, RR, drawdown, p-value, average return, all that shit. So what you're going to skip, the literature review. Unless you're brand new to the entire topic, the literature review is filler. It's the authors proving they read the prior research before they did theirs. You don't need it. You don't need to read that in the paper. You can skip it, save the time. Now, once you've done the 4-section skim and you've skimmed those 4 sections in paper that you picked, you drop the whole PDF into Claude. Download the PDF, copy and paste, drag it into a Claude session. You're going to run prompt 1 from the 10 prompt template PDF that I gave you. That's the paper extraction prompt. It's going to give you 5 clean numbered points back, the testable hypothesis in 1 sentence, the exact entry and exit conditions, the time frame and asset universe, the claim performance with confidence intervals, if any, biggest weakness, and 90-second extraction beats for hours of solo reading. So once you do that, and that's assuming you've picked out a paper that you enjoy and you picked out 5, read 3, pick the best one out of those 3. That's assuming you've done all that. But here's the thing, and this is the move that separates, people who are really trying to be serious about building a system like this and people who don't really know what the hell is going on. After you got your extraction, your hypothesis extracted from the first prompt, ask Claude one more question. Ask Claude, what's the biggest reason this strategy won't work in retail? My fees, my fills, my account size, question mark. Ask it that. Ask it that. Write that down. Ask it that. Because most academic strategies, honestly, do not survive retail. The papers mostly assume institutional execution. 0 slippage, infinite liquidity, fractional shares, none of the friction that you actually face as a retail trader. But asking Claude that question before you start coding saves you a week of building something that was always going to die. It was always going to fail no matter what. So it's really important that you ask it that and you sort of play devil's advocate. Tell it, what are reasons this would fail? What are reasons this wouldn't go right? Interact with AI, bro. And so that leads to the big takeaway of all this. The value of reading these papers isn't the strategy itself. It's the value of the structural insight. Almost all these papers don't translate one-to-one, meaning you can't just Google a paper and just expect it to just be banging back to back to back to back, right? The thing the paper noticed about the market that you can adapt to your time frame, your instrument, your execution, that's what's important. Don't copy the paper though. Steal the idea. Test it on your own conditions, right? So don't just copy the conditions the paper set forth. And, have at it. Next segment, I'm going to show you how to ingest the paper. I have a paper already downloaded using the opening range breakout strategy. It's just a, random quant paper I found. And it looked pretty interesting, and the claims seemed pretty interesting, so I picked it. But we're going to see exactly what this extraction looks like. And yeah, let's go. Alright, so live walkthrough. I have a paper from SSRN, and this is a profitable day trading strategy for the US equity market. It's the most cited recent orb paper in the retail quant scene right now, and we're going to drop it into Claude, run prompt 1 from the 10 template prompt PDF document I gave you. And we're going to watch Claude pull the testable hypothesis out in 90 seconds, and we're going to ask him a follow-up question to see what the smallest tradable version of this looks like for an NQ futures trader. And from there, we're going to see what happens. So, you're going to want to go into your Pluto Terminals app or your terminal, CLI, whatever you want. And you're going to invoke a new Claude session. So let's start a new Claude session. And what we're going to do is, because you can't drag and drop folders into there, we're just going to tell it the directory of the folder. So look, it finished. All I had to do was paste in here the directory of where the file was that I downloaded. So the paper I downloaded was in a research folder, like I showed you. I remember that research journal strategies and the Claude markdown file I showed you earlier. So I have it within there, within the research folder, and basically was able to pull it. Now we're gonna paste in our prompt from the PDF. Prompt number 1: read this paper in 5 more points. Give me 1. Testable hypothesis in 1 sentence. 2. The exact entry exit hold conditions. 3. The time frame and asset universe the paper tested. 4. The paper's claim performance and confidence interval, if any. And 5. The single biggest weakness or limitation. Don't summarize the literature review. Don't recap the abstract. Just those 5 numbered points. And enter. It's going to run for us. Alright, so look what Claude gave us back. 5 clean numbered points. Number 1, the testable hypothesis. In 1 sentence, notice how Claude compressed a 30-page paper down to a single sentence that you can actually act on, right? Number 2, the exact entry, exit, and hold conditions. For the Zaratini paper, it's going to be something like enter on a break above the 5-minute opening range on stocks in play, hold until end of session, or hit a fixed R target. Notice it's specific: times, levels, and conditions. You could code this, that's the bar. Number 3, time frame and asset universe, US equities, stocks in play universe, 2016 to 2023. That tells you immediately this strategy is built for equities, not futures. It's going to need adaptation if I want to trade it on NQ. So that's what that tells me. Number 4, claim performance, Sharpe ratio, alpha, drawdown, all of it. Note these numbers, but don't fall in love with them. Like I said, we are going to audit, and we're going to see if these papers' claims are true, and we're going to verify that. Number 5, biggest weakness. This is the section most retail readers skip. Claude pulls it out for us. Stocks in play universe shifts daily, and there's no free public list of which stocks to qualify. That's a real cost of implementation problem. Knowing that before you start coding saves you weeks. So that's the entire paper compressed in 90 seconds, and now the follow-up is what's going to make this actually actionable to become tradable. So I have this prompt right here. I'm going to paste it right here. It says, take that hypothesis and tell me what's the smallest version of this I could test on NQ 5-minute futures during the New York Open session without needing the stocks in play universe. Keep the core insight but adapt the implementation. Give me a 5-line strategy spec. Enter. Now we're gonna wait for a response from Claude. Alright, look at this. So Claude took the structural insight of the paper, which was the opening range breakout, on liquid, in play instruments, and adapted it to NQ. So 5 lines of pseudocode. Trade the break above the 5-minute opening range during the New York Open session with a volume or volatility filter as the proxy for stocks in play. Hold until end of session or fixed R exit. This is the path. And this is what reading academic papers with Claude actually looks like. The paper studied something we can't directly replicate. The insight survives translation, and then the implementation adapts to our conditions, right? Notice nothing about that workflow required me to even read the paper word by word. Claude did the heavy lifting. I provided the framework, read order, extraction prompt, retail reality follow-up, and got back something I can actually trade off of in under 5 minutes. Next segment, we're going to compress 3 more papers through the same flow to show you the range of what translates and what doesn't. So let's go. Okay, so the Zaratini paper translated to NQ with a couple of adaptations. That's a pretty clean example, but most papers won't be that clean. So I'm going to give you 3 examples right here up on the screen. One that translates great, one that translates partially, and one that doesn't translate at all, so you can start building instinct for which papers, are worth your research time and which ones aren't. So, paper 1, intraday momentum. Class of papers like Gao, Han, and Li, Zhao, 2018. The claim is simple. First half-hour return on SPY predicts the last half-hour return. If the morning was up, the afternoon tends to be up. If the morning was down, the afternoon tends to be down. Data they use is half-hour bars on SPY going back to 1993. Why this translates beautifully? Half-hour bars are something every retail trader has access to. SPY is one of the most liquid instruments on the planet. No special data feed, no level 2, no millisecond execution. You read the paper, you grab the structural insight, opening behavior predicts closing behavior, and you can immediately adapt it to NQ futures or any liquid futures instrument. Green light, worth your research time. So, intraday momentum, great example of a great paper. That paper specifically, great example of it translating well into the workflow. Right? Paper 2, order book imbalance. Class of papers like Quant, Kukhanov, and Stoikov, 2014. Claim is that the imbalance between bid side depth and ask side depth at the top of the order book predicts the next second price direction. Powerful insight. The problem is the data requirement. They need full level 2 depth data at millisecond resolution. Most retail traders don't have level 2 access. Your platform shows you level 1, top of book, and that's it. And even if you did have level 2 access, the execution speed required to act on a next second prediction is way too tight for manual entry. And this is a partial translation. So the concept is valuable, knowing that order flow imbalance matters, and it informs how you think about market structure. But the actual trade, as it's written in the paper, you can't run it. So you steal the concept and you skip the trade, yellow light. And that's what makes this a partial, okay paper, is you ingest the concept, steal the concept, but you don't actually place the trade. So paper 3, cross-sectional equity factors. Class of papers like Fama French 5 factor. The claim is that 5 specific factors, size, value, profitability, investment, market beta, explain the cross-section of equity returns over long horizons. Beautiful academic work, Nobel Prize tier stuff, totally untradeable for retail. Why? Because the data they use is 3,000 plus US equities across decades. The implementation requires you to construct a long short portfolio of hundreds or thousands of stocks, rebalanced monthly, held for years. Retail doesn't have the capital, the brokerage relationships, or the time horizon for that. This is a paper you read once for context, you understand what they're saying, and you move on. Red light. Don't waste time trying to retrofit it. So that's the spectrum. Some papers hand you the trade, and some hand you the insight, but not the trade. And some hand you nothing fucking at all. The way you build pattern recognition for which is which is you read 10 to 20 papers in your topic that you want to pick. After 10, you can tell within the first 2-3 pages if it's worth your fucking time. Check the data requirements first too, and you're going to check the execution constraints as well. You're going to save yourself weeks of trying to translate something that was never going to work. So make sure to check those 2 things. Next part, path B, building a strategy from scratch with Claude. You bring the market observation and Claude does the formalization. And I know this is a lot of what people are looking forward to really see how you can build your own strategy from scratch with Claude. So let's go. All right, so framework. Before, we were reading academic papers to find strategies. This time, it's the opposite. You're not finding someone else's strategy. You're bringing your own observation about the market and letting Claude formalize it into something tradable. This is the path most retail traders should actually be on because you already have observations. You've been staring at charts, you've noticed things. The problem isn't lack of ideas, but the problem is converting a fuzzy observation into a precise, testable hypothesis. Claude solves that, bro. AI solves all that shit. Where do trading ideas actually come from? 4 buckets. Number 1, chart time observations. You've been watching NQ for months and you notice something. NQ keeps testing yesterday's high in the first 30 minutes. That's an observation. Half-baked. No rules attached, just a pattern your eyes picked up. That's where strategies start. Number 2, community conversations. You're in Discord, you're in a Telegram, somebody drops a comment about VWAP bounce setups on news days, you file it. Number 3, your own trading anomalies. You're reviewing your own journal and you notice your losers keep happening in the 11 to noon hour. That's an observation about your own behavior or the market that could become a strategy. Number 4, Twitter. X, the scroll. Someone posts a thread claiming opening gaps fill 70% of the time. You don't believe it, but you wonder. That's an observation. All 4 of these have the same problem. They're vague, tend to test, when, within how many minutes, with what magnitude, bounces off VWAP. What's the bounce threshold? What time frame? What's a news day? Until you answer all these questions, you don't have a strategy. You just have a feeling, and feelings, you can't backtest a feeling, my G. This is where template 3 from the prompting PDF that I provided down in the description comes in, the hypothesis formalization. You drop your observation into Claude with this framing. Read the prompt off the graphic. Here's a market observation I want to test. Walk me through how a quant would formalize this into a testable hypothesis. What's the precise definition? What's the null? What data and sample size would I need? What 3 things could fool me into thinking this works when it doesn't? Don't suggest a strategy, just a testing framework. So pay attention to the last sentence there. Don't suggest a strategy. Claude is not supposed to invent a trade for you. Claude is supposed to take your observation and turn it into something you can test. Because the moment Claude is generating strategies, you're back to asking the AI for a winning trade. And we already covered why that gives you garbage. The whole point of this path is that the idea is yours, and Claude is doing the work of making it precise. 3 to 4 turns of Socratic pushback with Claude, and Claude asks, what do you mean by test the highs? Do you mean wicks above or close above? You answer, Claude asks, what's your sample size? If you only trade 930 to 10, you answer. By round 4, you've got our 5-line strategy spec that didn't exist when you started. That's the magic of this path. Next segment, we're going to go live on this, and I'm going to bring my observation about VWAP reversion intraday on NQ, drop it into Claude with the 3rd template in the prompt PDF, and I'm going to walk you through every Socratic pushback, and we'll end with a precise spec. Alright, so live walkthrough. I'm going to bring an observation I've actually seen on NQ, that NQ tends to make an initial extension move away from VWAP in the first 30 to 60 minutes of the New York Open session. Then it reverts back to VWAP within the next 60 to 90 minutes, and that's just what I've observed. No rules attached to this, and we're going to paste this into Claude, tell Claude about this, and we're going to see what Claude does with it. 3 to 4 turns of Socratic pushback should land us at a precise 5-line strategy spec that we could code tomorrow, tonight, whenever you want to code it. Pretty simple. So we are already in our Claude session, and what I'm going to paste here as my prompt. Here's a market observation I want to test. NQ tends to make an initial extension move away from VWAP within the first 30 to 60 minutes of the New York Open session, then revert back to VWAP within the next 60 to 90 minutes. Walk me through how a quant would formalize this into a testable hypothesis. What's the precise definition? What's the null? What data and sample size would I need? What 3 things would fool me into thinking this works when it doesn't? Don't suggest a strategy, just a testing framework. So, boom, enter. And we're going to wait. Wait. Man. And AI is really the future, guys. Like, I can't stress it enough. Like, this shit changed my life, and you know, it's just, there's so many use cases for it, bro, and it's just it's a quality of life thing, bro. Like, I don't know, like, why wouldn't you want like the smartest thing in the world right now to like be at your side, helping you with whatever problems you have to solve and whatever you got to figure out, you know? It seems like a pretty self-explanatory answer. But yeah, you know, I'm making these videos, and I want people to really understand AI and how to leverage it and implement it in their life, because I know a lot of people have a hard time finding use cases for AI in their lives and other stuff, and I was just like that. But once you figure it out, you'll start to understand everything. Oh, so here we go, our message, and all right, let's take a sec to just skim through this real quick. Okay, so see what Claude did. It didn't give me a strategy, right? Claude is doing exactly what the number 3 template prompt asked it to do. It's pushing back on the ambiguity in my observation, right? Claude's gonna come back with these clarifying questions like this. You should get this too if you're, you know, following along or you know, following along the steps with your own strategy. So Claude's gonna come back with clarifying questions. Things like, what do I mean by extension, right? Is that a fixed number of ticks? Is that proportional to the day's ATR or that day's realized volatility? What VWAP am I using? Session VWAP that resets at the open, or a rolling VWAP, right? What counts as a reverting back? Does price have to literally touch VWAP or get within some threshold? And probably the biggest one, you know, that's pushing back. What's my sample size? If I'm only looking at this within a 90-minute window per session, I mean, how really accurate is this observation, right? Is this strategy automatically invalidated because of the sample size? Well, that's something we have to figure out, right? These are exactly the questions a senior quant would ask if you walked up to their desk and pitched this idea. They would give you that pushback, right? So Claude is forcing the precision out of my vague observation. You can see Claude is trying to draw it out of me. And that is something that's really cool. And you want to make sure that when you're telling Claude as well, this going back to the Claude markdown file, when you're telling Claude about who you are and everything, if you're someone like me that's not really communicative and you have a hard time typing or, you know, just getting thoughts out, tell the AI that, and the AI will know when it interacts with you that it will ask you questions to get more information out of you if you're not that much of a conversationalist, right? You know, I love typing. I also have a tool on my computer where I can press a button and my mic activates, and whatever I say will throw it into Claude. So, for example, I'll show you here momentarily. So we're going to answer Claude's questions here, and I'm going to use this functionality that I'm going to show you right here. So I'm going to tell him the extension definition. Let's define extension as 30 ticks or more from session VWAP. Fixed ticks for now, and we can test variable later. Session VWAP that resets at 9:30 Eastern time each day. That's our VWAP type. Reversion definition: price touches or breaches session VWAP within 60 to 90 minutes of the extension. Sample size: roughly 250 sessions per year. If I only get one setup per session, that's tradable. That's 250 trades. If only 60% of sessions hit the 30 tick threshold, that's around 150 setups per year. What could fool me? Look ahead bias if I'm checking VWAP touch after it happened, survivorship if I'm only looking at it trending days, and overfitting the 30 tick threshold to historical data. So now press shift again. And as you can see, it threw all that in there. I didn't even type that. And now we just hit enter. And that's really good too. If you're interested in that, I can make a video on how to get access to that and everything, but it's super easy, bro. It makes working with AI like so fire, bro. You can sit here, just talk. You can be like this. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I was stroking my shit last night. Yeah, bro. Nah. And you can just be having a grand old time smacking your belly ha, 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 with the AI, bro. Claude get you right, bro. Claude will tell you some jokes. But bro, you can just chat. You can chat all you want, and it'll just record all you say, and then it'll throw it into the AI, and you don't got to type. And that way, it help you too if you don't want to type these long prompts, because you know generating a good prompt for Claude is quite lengthy. So you can just speak it, and it'll paste it in there. Pretty cool, bro. Pretty cool. So we're gonna wait for this this response. So what did he say? Catch 1, unit check, 30 ticks is tiny. So it's warning us about the tick. Possibilities. So you understand the workflow process. It draws information out of you. It converges on a tighter spec. Notice the pattern of this conversation, right? Every answer I give triggers Claude to ask another more precise question to really get the fine details and the real answer. That's the work. Most retail traders skip this. They have a vague observation. They jump straight to let me code some bullshit. They end up with code that doesn't match the observation they started with. It's all fucked, bro. The conversation is a precision. The back and forth with Claude, building that context, that memory for this system, that's the precision, bro. That's where Claude shines, right? So what Claude's doing now is he just consolidates my answers into a testing framework, and it's going to tell me the null hypothesis. Extensions from VWAP are random and don't predict reversion. That's something he could say, and guess what? He could be right. And what the alternative is, extensions of 30 plus ticks within the first 60 minutes predict reversion within the next 60 to 90 with greater than chance frequency. That's a hypothesis you can backtest. That's a hypothesis you can statistically reject. Who took science in middle school, bro? Who remember about p-values and statistically rejecting your hypothesis, bro? That's what we needed. This is real fucking shit, bro. So now, I'm just gonna say it. Lock this as a precise 5-line strategy spec. Entry conditions, exit conditions, precision sizing, time window, just a spec, no commentary. Format it so I can drop it into a Pine script codification prompt next. So as you can see here, Claude generated us our spec, 5 lines, started this segment with a vague observation of something I had on NQ, right? And we ended with a precise enough plot through the AI. Now this long entry requires a 30 tick or greater extension below the session VWAP within the first hour, plus a 5-minute reversal bar confirming momentum. And the target is touching the VWAP. That would be TP. That is what this system would trade. That is what we have just plotted. Just the framework, right? Stop is 15 ticks beyond the extension. So time exit is at 11:30 a.m. and precision size is 1 micro NQ. You could code it tonight, could backtest it tomorrow, could be live trading it within a week, my G. The world's your oyster. Notice what didn't happen here though. I didn't ask Claude to invent a strategy. I'm stressing this. Claude is not going to invent you a strategy, bro. If you go on Claude and tell Claude, yo, bro, invent me a strategy to fucking trade. Bro gonna look at you like, ay caramba. He's not gonna know what the fuck you're asking him to do. So I brought the observation. Claude brought the rigor. And you know, we're gonna continue on because he brought the rigor and the precision, and that's the entire move of this path. Real observation, real Claude, real Socratic pushback, real 5-line spec, from vague to tradable in like 15 minutes. We're gonna take this exact spec and we're gonna codify it into Pine script and plot it on TradingView. But first, I'm going to show you if you already have a strategy by hand and you don't need an ideation or codification, what you can do. So we're going to hit that next. Alright, so in the last segment, Claude pushed back on my vague observation with a series of questions until we had a precise spec. Those questions weren't random. They follow a pattern. 5 statistical questions that a senior quant asks for every single strategy that crosses their desk. These are the questions Claude should ask you. And if Claude doesn't ask them, you ask them. Print this slide, stick it above your desk, run these 5 on every strategy you build. Doesn't matter if it came from a paper, from a Discord post, from your own head. Run the 5, bro. I'm literally telling you. This is coming from someone who literally has maximized efficiency and productivity in their AI workflow. Question 1. How many trades does this generate per period? This is the sample size question. If your strategy only triggers 5 times a year, you will never have statistical significance in your lifetime. You'll spend a decade collecting data and still not know if your edge is real. The trade frequency sets the ceiling on everything else you can prove. If the answer is rarely, seriously consider whether this strategy is even worth building. Question 2. What's the null hypothesis? If you can't state in one sentence what nothing's going on would look like, you cannot test for something going on. The null is the baseline you're trying to reject. For the VWAP reversion strategy we just built, the null is extensions from VWAP are random and don't predict reversion any better than random entries would. You backtest a strategy, you compare its results to what random entries would produce, and either your strategy beats random by a statistically significant margin or it doesn't. If you can't even articulate the null, you don't understand what you're testing. So, this is getting into just, you know, testing your hypothesis. And if you don't really know, like, the scientific process, and you know, we learned it in school, the scientific process, hypothesis, research, synthesize, all that shit, right? Just use Claude, bro. if you don't smoked a lot of za, bro, and maybe you got a little bit of brain fog, just use Claude, bro. Claude will help you out, bro. No need to be struggling over here trying to do the scientific method. So question 3, how many parameters does the strategy have, and are any of them optimized? So for this one we just built, every tunable parameter is a degree of freedom that lets you overfit history. So number of moving average periods, ATR multipliers, time thresholds, RSI levels, every one of these is a knob you can turn to make backtest results look better than they are. The more knobs, the more you can curve fit. If you tested 200 parameter combinations, which I don't know why the fuck you would do that, and one looks great, that one is almost certainly noise. This is what triggers the Bonferroni correction. Your p-value gets divided by the number of configurations you tested. Most backtests fail this check, and the trader has no idea. Question 4. What sample size is needed for a 95% confidence interval to not cross 0? This is the question that tells you whether you can ever prove your edge. If your strategy has a small edge, say average half an hour per trade, you need a lot of trades to demonstrate that the edge is real and not random luck. Rough rule, 100 trades minimum for any conclusion, 300 for confidence, 500 before you should deploy real capital without forward test data. If your strategy generates 30 trades a year and the edge is small, you're looking at a 10-year timeline to know if you're a profitable trader. 10 years, G. Most retail traders never run this calculation, and they trade undersample strategies their whole career, and we know what happens to them, bro. You don't want to end up like them. Question 5. And this is the most important one, at least to me. What 3 things could fool me into thinking this works when it actually doesn't? This is the devil's advocate question. Most retail traders never ask this because the answer is uncomfortable. The usual suspects: look ahead bias, where your strategy uses information it wouldn't have had at decision time; survivorship bias, where you're testing on a universe that's already been pruned to failures; selection bias, where you only kept the periods that looked good; phantom fills, where you assumed you got filled at prices the market only touched; regime overfit, where your strategy worked in a specific volatility regime that no longer exists. Asking Claude all these before you trust a backtest number saves you months. Bro, it'll save you so much time. Like, I waste so much time doing that shit. I waste so much time, bro. So much time. And that's it. That's 5 questions. Print them, stick them above your desk, run them on every strategy, bro. If Claude doesn't ask them, you ask them. If you can't answer them, you don't have a strategy yet. And you only have hope, bro. And I guess that's good enough for me. And you can come to me with hope, and I'll make sure that that light and flame of hope never dims. I'll keep your hope alive, G. I'll keep your hope alive, G. Watch enough of my YouTube videos, I'll make you think you can do anything. Alright, bro. So this was it. 5 questions. Now, next segment. Alright, so this is a topic that I personally struggled with when I was going through my entire workflow and, you know, implementing AI and just everything I was doing. I was really over engineering like everything, like crazy. So we've done the back and forth with Claude, right? Question now is, how do you know when you're done and when you need to stop iterating? When is done? Because this matters. Some traders give up after 1 round and walk away with a half-baked spec, and other traders iterate forever, keep adding edge, and end up with a spec so over-engineered that it's curve fit to nothing. So there's a sweet spot. So round 1, that's your raw observation. Vague, half-baked, no rules attached. That's where you start. Rounds 2 to 4, this is that sweet spot. 3 rounds of Socratic pushback. Claude asks clarifying questions. You answer, Claude refines, you approve. By the end of round 4, you should have a precise 5-line strategy spec. If the conversation is going well, 4 rounds is normal. 4 rounds and you're done. That's all it takes. Rounds 5 and 6, that's the warning zone. If you're still iterating at round 5, one of 2 things is going on. Either you're over-engineering, adding edge cases that don't really matter, layering filters that don't actually improve the strategy, and just adding complexity for its own sake, or the more than likely scenario, your original observation was too vague to land cleanly, and Claude is doing its best to extract precision from something that was never that precise. Either way, round 5 and 6 should make you suspicious. It shouldn't be going to round 5 or 6. Round 7 beyond, stop. Don't even keep iterating. The problem at this point isn't the refinement. The problem is the idea itself. Either the observation you started with wasn't sharp enough, or it wasn't a real edge in the first place. Or you are trying to make Claude bail you out of a flawed premise. Close the session, walk away, start fresh with a sharper observation. Better to lose 20 minutes than waste 2 hours coding something that was wrong from round 1. Take this from me, bro. See these phalanges right here, bro? I can type like 150 words per minute, bro. But bro, I be typing. Gang. Ain't nothing like wasting hours coding some shit that you didn't even know didn't even work from the start, bro. So I'm literally telling you, making sure you really adhere to this workflow that I've kind of outlined is critical, bro, to make sure no time is wasted. Like, if I was on a path, if I went back in time and was on the path that I, would lead me to here, I could have accelerated everything by like months, bro, if I knew a bunch of this stuff beforehand. And so now I hope people can learn from my mistakes and, thrive. So yeah. So back to the original question. When is done? What does done actually look like? 3 things. 1, 5 lines of pseudocode or fewer. If your strategy can't fit in 5 lines, it's not a strategy, it's a system. And systems are a different beast. They have multiple sub-strategies, regime switches, position sizing logic, all kinds of stuff. 5 lines max. 2, every threshold is a named variable, not around 30 thick. 2, every threshold is a named variable, not around 30 ticks. 2, every threshold is a named variable, not around 30 ticks, not roughly the first hour, extension ticks equals 30. Time window minutes equals 60. Every number gets a name, no magic numbers buried in the rules. 3, no hand waving terms. If your rules include when the market feels strong, or skip if it's choppy, or only on news days, those aren't rules. Those are vibes, my G. Push back into a precise definition. You need to be precise. Precision is your friend, bro. The more precise you are, the more you feed Claude, the more you're gonna get out of it, bro. So if all 3 check out, you're done, and you don't need to iterate anymore. Stop iterating. Go codify it in PineScript, and that's the next part, implementation. So path C is gonna handle traders who already have a strategy. So the next path is going to handle traders who already have a strategy spec in their head and just need codification. Then next part, we will take all these specs, do extraction from scratch and the pre-existing, and run them through the same implementation loop. So let's go. Alright, lads. So this is, like I said, for the trader who already has a strategy, right? If you swaggy like that and you're just better than me and you're like Pluto, bro, I don't need a fucking quant paper, bro. I don't need to do a market observation, bro. All right, bro, you're swaggy, you're cool, bro. So let's say you've been trading your strategy for months, years, whatever it might be, bro. Maybe you're the all-knowing fucking NASDAQ wizard. You have these rules in your head, and you don't need ideation, you need codification. So you need to take what's in your head and turn it into PineScript and then plot it and audit it. That's essentially what you need to do, to take the strategy from your mind to having it incorporate with AI and getting it on the path to be automated. But there's a catch, and this is the part most retail traders mess up. Most retail traders think they have a strategy. 4 steps to discretize. Number 1, write it out before Claude touches it. Sit down, open a markdown file or a piece of paper, and write your strategy in plain English. Take 10 to 15 minutes. This single move replaces 2 hours of back and forth with Claude trying to extract precision from your head. Number 2, every feels needs a number. If your strategy includes when the market feels strong or when I see a clean setup, those aren't rules, those are feelings. Push each feeling into a measurable. Strong might mean ATR above some threshold, RSI above 60, distance from VWAP greater than X. Pick one measurable, that part of your strategy, lock it down, right? Drop the others. If you can't pick a measurable, then that part of your strategy isn't real. It's just a confirmation bias on past trades. So with that being said, this next one is the real brutal one, is you're going to discover your real edge. Half the time when you discretize, you find out your discretionary edge was actually 3 well-defined rules plus a bunch of noise you've been adding. The noise was making you feel like you had more edge than you really did. Strip the noise, what survives is the actual strategy. And this was humbling, especially for me when I was going through this whole process. Most retail traders avoid this exercise because they don't want to see how thin their edge really is. So for number 4, once you have the precise written spec, you're going to want to drop it into Claude with template 2 from the prompting PDF, right? Convert this into a Pine script V5 indicator. Don't optimize anything. Use the parameters I gave you. Comment every condition. That's it. Claude does the codification. You bring the spec. So now, if you look on the right side of the graph, 4 pitfalls. Things that kill this path and its strategies before they're even coded. Pitfall number 1. Context rules. Alright? Only trade when the market feels strong. Skip if it's choppy. Only on news days. These aren't rules. These are vibes wearing a rule costume. Force each one into a measurable definition or drop the rule entirely. There's no middle ground. Pitfall number 2. Post hoc explanations. These are rules you built to explain why your past winners worked. The trade happened, you saw what was unique about that setup, you wrote it down as a rule. Problem is these don't generalize. They explain history. They don't predict future, so the rules must be specifiable before the trade even triggers, not after. If you only know the rule after you see the outcome, it's not a rule and it's a narrative. Pitfall number 3. Rules with no exit. Entry is clear and obvious. Exit is, I'll know when. That's not a strategy, that's a hope. Specify exits with the same precision as entries. Target specific levels or R multiples. Stop at specific levels or ATR multiples. Time cap, specific time, or bar count. All 3, every trade has a defined ending built in before the trade even starts. Pitfall number 4. Infinite hold time. Related to no exit, hold until target hits. What if neither target nor stop hits? What if the trade just chops sideways for 4 hours? Then you're going to want to cap that trade with a timed exit. So otherwise your positions will linger past your edge window. So next segment, I'm going to bring the pivot point bounce rules I trade by hand, write them out in plain English, drop into Claude, watch Claude codify them into Pine script, then we move into the implementation pipeline. So this was how to discretize your strategy, and next segment, we're going to go into pivot point bounce rules and writing out your trading rules by hand and dropping them into Claude and having Claude codify your rules right into Pine script. So that way we can move into the implementation pipeline. Alright, so now we're going to go through and do a live walkthrough of, if you have your strategy and you have your spec, that you created with Claude, and now you're going to use the prompt that I gave you in the prompt PDF and use that in combination with your spec, and Claude is going to draft up in Pine script your strategy for you, and it's going to display it on TradingView, and this is going to be pretty cool. We're going to see like everything pretty much come together right here. So what you're going to want to do is go into a new pane, and you're just going to want to invoke Claude, right? Type Claude. So here I have my strategy, right? My strategy. I trade this strategy by hand, convert it to a Pine script V5 indicator that places entry markers on the chart. Don't optimize anything. Use the parameters I gave you. Comment every condition so I can audit your logic line by line. If any of my rules are too vague to code precisely, ask me before guessing. So this is a combination of my strategy mixed with template number 2 from the 10 template prompts PDF. And yeah, we're going to hit enter. We're going to run this. We're going to see what Claude does here. So Claude's going to, read the rules, the clean rules, pivot calculations, bar within 5 ticks, bar closes above pivot, time window. Those are all codable. Claude's going to write them straight into a Pine script. But there's 3 vague ones in there that I planted on purpose for the point of this video. The skip the trade if the market feels too strong or too weak. The better on news days, skip Fed days, and tighter stop if it's a Monday. Those aren't rules. Those are vibes wearing a rule costume, and same pitfall we covered last segment. So we're going to see Claude here. Read the claude.md file. Remember the Claude markdown file that we set up, and it's going to tell Claude to ask us before guessing on vague rules. So Claude should pause, code the clear parts, and come back to me with questions about the 3 vague points I brought up earlier. And that's the discretization moment. That's where Claude turns vibes into measurables. We drop the rule. So here you can see Claude came back to me. It's vague. It's asking me now. Your rule: skip if the market feels too strong or too weak that day. Can't be coded as is. Feels has no number. How should I define it precisely? and you can pick, bro. So just for the example, we're just gonna say, like, let's just say, like, drop this filter. And your rules reference news days and Fed days. PineScript v5 has no access to an economic calendar. It cannot know what's a news day or FOMC day on its own. How do you want to handle this? So we're not going to worry about that because I'm going to show you how to integrate, you know, your own economic calendar with your AI bot and everything later. But this is all coming together. It's all coming together. You know, this is all for demonstration purposes. So when Claude asks about the vague rules, you want to answer with measurables. Your answers, or close to it, you know, should be in your own words. You want to wait for Claude to acknowledge and continue with the finalized PineScript. So this is the discretization happening in real time. 3 vague tells came in. You saw Claude paused, built out the first portion of the PineScript, came back, needed to get more information from me on what really my strategy involves, right? We can always add stuff back later if it shows an edge in backtesting, or if you want to add, you know, miscellaneous stuff and go backtest, you can. So you came in here thinking that you had a 5-rule strategy, right? And now you walk out with a 3-rule strategy that you can actually code plus a list of maybes as later as additions. The discretization didn't take edge away, revealed how much of you perceived edge was actually noise. Claude should be wrapping up the final PineScript now. So let's see here. Does it indicate only? Does actual? So as you can see, Claude pasted this, and you see this is our VWAP indicator from earlier. It's the same chart. So we're gonna hit this refresh button right here. And look at that, boom. Our pivot bounce strategy is now an indicator. And just like that, our strategy was coded into an indicator on TradingView, and it's now visible on our chart. Now, ways you could take this a step further. You could have Claude run scheduled tasks at macro windows where it runs certain checks and checks for certain parameters on the chart, right? Then what it can do is it can plot an indicator and tell you this is where your SL should be, your TP, your runner, your take profit 1, take profit 2, take profit 3, your break even, all that stuff. And that was the first iteration of my own bot that I made. And for a while, my system was strictly manual like that until I was able to get it, you know, fully plugged in and automated. But yeah, this is really cool. And now you know how to take your own strategy and put it into Claude and, you know, really audit it and polish it, eat it through the prompts with Claude, and get out an indicator like this that will help you significantly visualizing your trading and in your trading workflow. So that's all 3 paths. Extracting a strategy from quant papers, building from scratch with conversational ideation and a market observation, and coding a strategy that you already trade and know. All 3 end up at the same place, a precise 5-line strategy spec, converted into PineScript, plotted on TradingView. Same backend pipeline, 3 different ways to get there. Alright, so we've done the 3 paths, 3 different ways to land at a strategy spec. They all converge here. Implementation. Get the spec into PineScript. Look at the left side of this graphic. 3 things you specify when you ask Claude for PineScript. Always v5. Claude sometimes defaults to v4. Reject it. Parameterize the values. You'll tweak them later. Hardcode the structural constants. And comment every entry and exit condition so future you can audit the logic line by line. These are 3 rules that need to happen every single time. Look at the right side. This is the debug loop. First time Claude writes the PineScript, it might not compile clean, which just means it might not load correctly. That's normal. Paste the error verbatim into Claude. Claude needs the literal error text to fix the error. So ask for the fix to that error and not a rewrite, just to apply and retry. 2 iterations is normal, 3 max. Past iteration 3, Restart the session with more context. Pass 3 means the problem isn't where Claude thinks it is and you're chasing the wrong bug. So let me show you this live. Alright, so you can see here in the top left, I started a Claude session and I wrote this. Write me a Pine script V5 indicator that implements the VWAP reversion long strategy we spec'd earlier, right? So remember that strategy we spec'd earlier showing, you know, the indicator with the VWAP, right? That I showed earlier before we added the new indicator onto our TradingView. So basically, we're replacing that. And what it did is it called the TradingView MCP, right? Couldn't find it. So I told it to go ahead and do a compile check. Still couldn't find it. I told it I just closed TradingView because I had it open and it was scanning and it couldn't find it. So then I had to close TradingView, and then I told it, hey, I reopened it, you can resume, and then it found it and it reconnected to it. So that's the thing, that TradingView MCP sometimes is like disconnects like that, and you need to close your TradingView, reopen it in order to get it reconnected with Claude. So as you can see, it loaded this untitled Pine script into my TradingView. So now all we're gonna hit is this play button, and boom. But you see, now we have, look, our strategy coded into our indicator that we asked it to create using Pine script. As you can see, look, trade would execute right here, tap into the VWAP. So this is just to showcase like debugging. When you create a Pine script and Claude creates it for you, there's, like I said, a big chance that the first time he creates it, it doesn't compile correctly. So you're gonna need to reclose and reopen your TradingView, and it should work after you do that. But you're gonna just wanna copy and paste the error verbatim, give it to Claude, he needs the error like exactly, and you're gonna ask him, hey, just fix this. This is what happened. Can you please take a look at this error and fix it? And he's gonna fix it, apply it in Pine Editor, resave it, re-add it to your chart, and then you're Gucci, and everything will be plotted on your chart. So that's the iteration loop, right? From spec to plotted indicator on TradingView. That's how you debug. You copy whatever the error that you're giving, and you give it right to the AI. Literally just give it to the AI, and the AI will solve the problem for you. It doesn't get easier than that. Like, I could sit here and BS and be like, bro, you gotta do some hard math, you gotta code, you gotta know what the fuck you're really doing. Bro, no, this is AI, bro. Like, anyone can use AI. It's a great benefit of it. That's why it's a great equalizer, bro. Next, right? The pre-Claude version of this same workflow took me anywhere from 2 hours to a full afternoon, right? Pine script syntax errors, type mismatches, scope issues, all that stuff that used to be hard is now like a paste and fix loop, right? 3 iterations is fast. 3 iterations would have taken you a week before. And this is like, wow, I love AI, bro. The rule that matters the most: pass iteration, stop, restart the session, repaste the spec with more context. Like, here's the full spec, here's what we tried, here's the latest error, the entire thing. If you're past 3 iterations, that means Claude's solving for the wrong bug or has lost context. A fresh start saves you time, and then in this next segment, we're about to cover when to fall back to manual coding and then plus quick readability rules. Let's go. So Claude writes about 90% of your Pine script just fine. Last segment proved that. But you know, there's another 10% where you should not really trust Claude at all to like nail your code on the first try, and you should plan to hand verify or hand code instead. So this segment's just going to briefly cover that 10% and what happens when that 10% does show up, and the readability rules that make your code maintainable in 6 months when you forgot how it works. So 3 cases where you're going to fall back to manual coding. Number 1 is for complex multi-time frame logic. Pine script has a function called request.security that lets you pull data from a different time frame into your indicator. This sounds like pretty naive, right? It's not. Bar repainting issues, look ahead settings, scope issues across time frames. These are the kind of bugs that don't just throw errors, but they'll just give you completely wrong data. Claude gets request.security right maybe like 70% of the time. So if your strategy uses higher time frame context in any meaningful way, like daily ATR on a 15-minute chart and weekly pivots on a daily chart, expect to verify the request.security calls manually, and pull up actual historical bars and eyeball the values against what your script is, computing, and confirm they match. Do not ship multi-time frame code unverified. You're just gonna give yourself a headache doing that. So number 2, performance critical loops. PineScript has hard runtime limits. The script has to compile under a certain compute budget, and complex loops or deep array operations can blow past that limit and time out. Claude doesn't always know the runtime limit. It'll happily write a triple nested loop that compiles in C++ and hits a wall in Pine. If your script chokes or returns runtime errors that aren't logic errors, you're in a performance territory. Profile what's slow. Hand optimize the inner loop. Often this means simplifying the calculation, caching values, or reorganizing the algorithm. Claude can help here. Trust me, he can. He helped me do that. But you have to recognize you're in this case first. Number 3, last one. Custom math that's load-bearing for your edge. If your strategy depends on a specific formula, maybe it's a custom volatility metric, a non-standard moving average, or a particular momentum calc, write the math yourself kind of thing, verify by computing the value by hand for a few bars and comparing to what your script outputs. Math you can't double check is a bug you'll never catch, and the trade signals start firing. You trust the script, but the underlying calc is wrong by a factor of 2, and you would never know, and guess what? You're fucked, G. So load-bearing math gets handwritten and hand-verified every time. Now, look at the right side. Readability rules. The principle here is simple. Future you is the most important audience for this code. Not Claude, not me. You, 6 months from now, when you've completely forgotten the conversation, the context, the strategy, the thinking, you just have the code. That's all you're going to have is the code to look back on, unless you implement the AI mind, which I have another video on. Make it readable enough that you can reorient in 5 minutes instead of 50. Rule number 1, variable names describe intent. Don't let Claude give you variables called x, val, temp, result. Tell Claude to name variables for what they represent. Extension underscore ticks, bar underscore reverses underscore up, in underscore entry underscore window. 6 months from now, those names are your map back to what the code is doing. Bad code reads like a foreign language. Good code reads like a comment that happens to compile. Rule number 2, comments above every condition. Not what comments, why comments, bad comment. X is less than 11, good comment. Skip entries after 11 a.m. Eastern time outside our edge window. The what is obvious from the code. The why is the context that helps future you understand the logic. Comments are for the human auditor. Code is for the compiler. Rule number 3, 3-line plain English summary at the top of the file. What does this script trade? When does it trigger? How does it exit? 3 lines, reads in 10 seconds, saves you 10 minutes of rereading code to remember the strategy. Tell Claude to include this header every single time and make it a standard. That's it. Hand code the 10% Claude can't be trusted with. Write everything Claude does handle in a way that future you can audit. And that's the most important thing. Future-proofing yourself with the AI. Next segment, plotting and indicator design. We're going to talk about how to make the markers on your chart actually readable while you're trying to trade. Let's go. Alright, so indicator design principles. So G, got your PineScript indicator from Claude. It compiles and it plots. But here's the thing that nobody talks about, is that most retail indicators are designed for desktop. So let's say you're at the airport and you're at your kid's soccer game, you're at the gym, you're TradingView alert pings, you pull out your phone, look at the chart, and either you can read the signal in 2 seconds or you can't. If you can't, you miss a trade or you take the wrong trade. The marker on your chart is your trade plan in the moment. Design it like your account depends on it, because it does. So here are 6 principles for designing an indicator that actually works in the real world. Number 1, one signal, one shape. Different setup types get different marker shapes. Triangle pointing up for a breakout entry, circle for a mean reversion entry, diamond for a counter trend entry. Whatever your system has, give each setup its own shape. Same shape used twice means the trader at the keyboard can't tell which setup just fired without checking the code. That's an execution mistake waiting to happen. Different shape per setup, always. Number 2, color encodes direction, not setup type. Green for long, red for short, period. Don't get clever and use color to also indicate high confidence or morning session or whatever else. One job per visual channel. Color does direction, shape does setup type. Don't overload visual channels. The moment you do is when the chart starts taking cognitive effort to parse and your slower execution. Write that down. Number 3, the marker implies the trade plan. Best indicators don't just mark the entry. They show you where the stop is and where the target is. Either label text near the marker showing entry, stop, target levels, or short horizontal lines projecting to those levels. The point, when you look at the chart, the entire trade plan should be visible from the marker. You shouldn't have to do math at the keyboard. Math at the keyboard is where execution mistakes happen. Number 4, phone readable at a glance. This is the actual test. Pull out your phone, open TradingView Mobile, look at your chart. Can you read the signal in 2 seconds? If yes, your indicator passes. If no, redesign, make the markers bigger, simplify the chart, remove background noise, increase contrast. Desktop is too forgiving. Everything looks clear on a 27-inch monitor. The phone is the real test because that's where most of your execution actually happens. Number 5. Less is more. Every plot element you add, every line, every label, every background color, every shape, it costs clarity. The temptation when you build an indicator is to add more. Visualize the indicator's internal state, show the calculations, plot the conditions, resist, drop anything that isn't load-bearing for the actual trade decision. If a plot element doesn't change whether you take the trade or how you take it, delete it. Cleaner chart equals faster execution, which equals fewer mistakes. Number 6. Reinforce what you trade. If your edge is body close behavior, what the closing prices do across bars, your marker should land at bar closes and highlight close related logic. If your edge is wick rejection at key levels, markers should highlight the wick highs and lows. The visual reinforces the underlying logic. That's the voice guided anchor. Wicks do the damage, bodies tell the story. Your indicator design should mirror the part of price action your strategy actually exploits. That's 6 principles. Look at the bottom of the graphic. Phone test is the only test that matters. Most retail indicators fail because they were designed on a 27-inch monitor and the trader runs them on a phone in the real world. Design for the phone, trade from the phone. Next segment, wiring the indicator to TradingView alerts so the chart actually pings you when the signal fires. Let's go. Okay, so you've got an indicator. We've got our indicator set up. It's plotting signals on our chart. This is the last piece. We're going to get those signals to ping our phone so that way we don't have to stare at the chart all day and we wire the alerts in. It's also where you're going to set up the foundation for future bot automation. So this video, it's long, but I made the decision that I'm going to give, this is long. This is going to be more of a foundational video. And I'm going to record another video that's building off of this. It's explaining the systemization and how to really take it from just like an indicator to an actually automated system. And that's really way more in depth and way more complex. But I want to get all this content out. Like there's really no rush. Like I'm not in a rush. I don't have anything to do. So I'm just going to work on these videos. And I'm going to push this out. So there's 2 sides to this. Left side of the graph, Pine script side. There's one Pine function that bridges your indicator logic to TradingView's alert system. It's called alert condition. Right side, the TradingView UI side. Once your script has the alert condition baked in, you wire it through TradingView's alert panel. 3 quick steps in the UI. I'm about to show you guys how to do it. Let's get into the demo. So we've got our indicator set up. It's plotting on our chart. This is the last piece we need to start getting signals to ping our phone so we don't have to sit in front of the chart all day. This is the alert wiring. It's where we're going to set up the foundation for future bot automation as well. And yeah, so there's 2 sides to this. You can see here we have the left side of the graphic, which is the Pine script side. There's one Pine function that bridges your indicator logic to TradingView's alert system. It's called alert condition. Right side, the TradingView UI side. Once your script has the alert condition baked in, you wire it through TradingView's alert panel. 3 quick steps in the UI. I'm about to show you how to do it. So, I made a mistake earlier and I forgot to tell Claude to add a alert conditions line within our Pine script. So if you don't have the alert condition in your Pine script, that's okay. All you're gonna do is I'm gonna leave again, like in the document where everything you can copy and paste and everything's you can find, a 2-line text. This is what it is. Right here. See it? Add an alert condition line to the indicator we just built. Wire it to the long signal boolean. Title long entry message VWAP reversion long. So I did that and it added it for me. So literally go into a Claude session, just tell it that. It should add it automatically into the Pine script in TradingView. So this single line is what tells TradingView to fire an alert when this condition is true. 3 arguments. First, the Boolean condition itself. In this case, long underscore signal, which is the variable in our script that becomes true when all the entry conditions line up. Second, the title that shows up in TradingView's alert dropdown when you go to wire the alert. Third, the default alert message that becomes a text on your phone notification. Tell Claude to add one alert condition per signal type every time you ask for a Pine script indicator. Should be standard. If your script has long entries, short entries, exit conditions, separate alert condition for each one. Save the script if you change anything, and now we're going to go to the TradingView UI side. We're done with the Pine script side. So you're going to want to go to your TradingView chart. You're going to want to right click anywhere on your TradingView chart, and we're going to click add alert, okay? In the condition drop down, you're going to want to find your indicator. You should see your indicator here. We're going to select it. So in this condition drop down, the first drop down picks the indicator. Your loaded indicator should already be in this list, okay? And second drop down right here is to pick the alert condition. So whatever we title it. So I titled mine long entry, so that's the one. And now there are three important settings that matter, okay? So setting number one is frequency. We're going to set this to once per bar close, not every bar. That fires constantly through the bar while the condition is intermittently true and gives you a mess of false alarms. Once per bar close fires exactly once when the bar closes and the condition was true at the close. Cleaner signal, fewer false alarms. Second setting, expiration. Set it to an open-ended if you can, or the maximum allowed by your TradingView tier. 365 days on premium. Don't want an alert silently expiring while you're still trading the strategy. So, open-ended. Third, notifications. So see this webhook URL? We're going to leave this unchecked and leave it empty for now. When we wire bot automation, that's where the bot endpoint is going to go. The webhook becomes a trigger that runs the trade automatically. So, yeah. In the message field, we're going to replace the default text with a JSON payload that's both human readable and machine parsable. So when an alert fires, TradingView actually substitute this with the actual appropriate information, so you'll be able to see the information of the actual trade that was alerted. We're going to click apply and create. And now the alert is live, and if you go click this little watch in the top right, you should see your alert right here, and it should say active. So that's it. The alert is wired. So from now on, when the indicator fires a long signal, your phone pings the JSON payload, symbol, price, time, stop, target. You see it, you go to your broker, you take the trade according to the plan in the alert. No checking the charts, no staring at the screen. The system pings you when there's work to do. Now, the move we made on the message. JSON format. That's the foundation for automation. When we wire a bot, we'll point the webhook URL feed at our bot's endpoint. The bot parses the JSON, executes the trade. Same alert that's pinging your phone today, auto executes tomorrow. Load it right once and you will never have to rework it again. So next part, this is going to be the chunk that separates this video from like every other AI trading video. Honest backtesting. Does your strategy actually work, or did you just curve fit history? Let's go. So we need to cover 4 stats concepts before we can do the audit work in the next 3 segments. No formulas you need to memorize, just the concepts you need so that when Claude is running a backtest audit for you, you actually like know what you're looking at. First concept, p-value. The p-value is the probability that you'd see this result if nothing is really going on. If your backtest returns a p-value of 0.05, that means there's a 1 in 20 chance the result is random luck. P-value of 0.01, 1 in 100. P-value of 0.001, 1 in 1,000. Smaller the p-value, less likely it's random. The convention in academic research is p less than 0.05 is statistically significant. In trading, p less than 0.05 alone is not enough. We'll get to why in a minute. Second concept, confidence interval. The confidence interval is the range that your real edge probably lives inside. If your strategy shows an average of a half R per trade with a 95% confidence interval of plus 0.1 to plus 0.9, that means your true edge is somewhere between those two numbers with 95% certainty. Narrower CI, or confidence interval, equals more certainty. Most important rule about confidence interval in trading. If your 95% confidence interval crosses 0, meaning the range includes negative numbers, your edge is not demonstrated. You might have an edge, you might not. Your data can't tell though. We're going to actually compute one of these live, and Bootstrap the resampling. Third concept, statistical power. Power is the probability that you detect an edge if a real edge exists. High power means small effects show up clearly. Low power means real edges hide in the noise and you never see them. Most retail backtests are underpowered. Too few trades, too noisy, can't detect real effects even when they're there. So a trader runs a backtest, the result isn't conclusive. They conclude no edge, when actually there might be an edge, they just couldn't see because they didn't have enough sample. Fourth concept, sample size rules. How many trades do you need? Rough rules, 100 trades minimum before you can draw any conclusion at all, 300 trades for confidence, that result isn't noise, 500 plus trades before you should deploy real capital without forward tests. Below 100 trades is just guessing dressed up as data. Most retail traders try to decide on strategies after 20 to 30 backtest trades, and that's not statistics, that's optimism. So those four concepts are down. Now the trap. The trap is called the multiple testing problem. Bottom left of the graphic, this is what kills 80% of retail backtests when you actually correct for it. The math is brutal. Say with me, if you run one random test, no real edge, you'd expect a 5% chance of accidentally hitting statistical significance by pure luck, right? P-value 0.05 means 1 in 20 chance of false positive. Now what happens if you test 200 random configurations? 200 different parameter combinations on the same strategy. Gives you 5% false positive rate for each. You'd expect, on average, 10 winners by pure chance. None of them are real. All of them random draws that happen to look good. Test enough things, some of them will look like winners just by accident. This is what kills the retail backtesting. The trader optimizes across 200 parameters in TradingView's strategy tester. One combo looks fantastic. Sharp of the two, win rate of 70%, beautiful equity curve, trader deploys it, it dies in live. Why? Because it was never a real edge. It was a lucky random draw out of 200 attempts. The fact that this trader tested 200 combos and one worked is exactly what guarantees the survivor was random. Now the fix, right? Bottom right of the graphic, Anthropic correction. The simplest possible correction for multiple testing. The formula, look at it. Corrected p-value equals raw p-value times n. And n is the number of configurations you tested. That's it. One multiplication, worked example. You tested 150 parameter combos. Your best one shows a raw p-value of 0.01. It looks great, right? Looks significant. So then you apply Bonferroni. Corrected p equals 0.01 times 150, which equals 1.5. A p-value of 1.5 means this result is meaningless. So not significant. Almost certainly noise. The Bonferroni correction killed the result because the result was just one lucky draw out of 150. Same scenario, but instead, your best one shows a raw p-value of 0.0001. Apply Bonferroni. Corrected p equals 0.001 times 150 equals 0.015. That's still significant. The result survives the correction. That one is a real edge, strong enough to overcome the multiple testing penalty. Bottom of the graphic, the principle, you'll see it. Every parameter you optimize is a degree of freedom that lets you overfit history. Bonferroni is the cheapest insurance policy in quant finance. One multiplication catches a noise pretending to be a signal. Run it every time. Validate, validate, validate. Next segment, we're going to go live on the first piece of the 4-step audit. And we're going to take a real demo strategy, split historical data, lock in parameters, run the test, and see whether the strategy actually survives. So first piece of the 4-step audit process, the holdout split. Single biggest reason backtests lied to you and what the simplest fix for it is. This is how it works. You're going to split historical data date by date, okay? First 70% is your training set of data. And then the last 30% is your holdout set of data. On the training set of data, you're going to want to do whatever you want. You can pick whatever parameters you want, whatever filters, tune the strategy, change whatever you want about it, right? That's how I used Claude and to figure out my strategy. And then I used Claude to implement my strategy, hook it up to my broker using Cowork and using OpenClaw and fucking cloud-hosted VPS and getting it hooked up on the back end and requiring some physical input sometimes, and the whole process to do it on the back end, you know, and hook it up to my broker so that way it can be integrated with TradingView. that was the lengthy part, and that's a part that I'm not going to cover because not everyone's strategy is going to require to be hooked up to the broker I want. And you can literally just talk to Claude back and forth, and he will tell you what's possible, what's not possible. Sometimes he'd be lying to you and telling you shit's possible when it's not, and then sometimes he'd be telling you shit's not possible when it is. That's the AI hallucinating, bro. That's just how it goes sometimes. That's why auditing is so important. So you're gonna then run these data sets, and you're gonna lock that version of your strategy, right? Lock it in, run it one time on the holdout set, right? Then that 30% of the data you're not going to touch. And if this strategy has real edge, then the numbers will look similar to your trading numbers, right? And if the strategy isn't a fit, then the holdout numbers are going to be bad and the numbers aren't going to match with your training set. So that's the audit, right? Now I'm about to show you how to do it in live action, and yeah, let's get into it. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into our Claude session. I'm gonna start a new Claude session just because I stepped away. You know, I've been filming this video in segments. And if you already have a working Claude session, just go ahead and use that one that you've been working in throughout this video. Or if you have, you know, this Terminals app, you can just open a new pane and start a new Claude session. So we're just gonna start a new Claude. Right. Yes. And all we're going to do is we're going to go into TradingView. We're going to go to where our Pine script was located. We're going to copy the code within the Pine script. So you're going to Control A your TradingView Pine script. You're going to paste it into your Claude code. Right? He's going to read that, get an understanding. And then I have a prompt. Like I said, it's going to be down in the description, just another two sentence prompt. And it's just basically asking Claude to convert this indicator that we made earlier into a strategy. So he's going to do that for us right now. He's just reading the Pine script, making sure he understands it. There you go. So now we're going to paste. Convert this indicator to a PineScript v5 strategy so I can run it in TradingView Strategy Tester. Add strategy.entry for the long signal and strategy.exit for the target/stop/time exits. So while Claude works on that, I'm gonna tell you about the 5 steps of the audit, right? Just break down the entire audit process right now. So step 1 is split by date, right? So not by random shuffle. Markets are time ordered, right? So random shuffles leak future information back into your training set and inflate your results. So always split your data chronologically. Step 2, you're going to optimize on the training data. Try your parameter combinations, your filters, your strategy, whatever. Find the version that works best on that 70% training data, okay? If you tested a bunch, have Bonferroni correct your p-value like we covered last segment, okay? Step 3, and this is the part that I think a lot of people, you know, need to make sure they're doing, is locking in the parameters. Write them down. Write what your checklist, your technical, you know, system is. Save it in a file with a date stamp, and don't touch it again. Okay. Now 4, you're gonna run the holdout. Same locked parameters, new data, and 1 run, and that's your verdict. And step 5 is going to be comparison. So you're going to compare the two. And if your holdout number looks similar to your training numbers, then you've probably got real edge. And if your holdout numbers don't look good, then the strategy is not looking good. So back to Claude now. Looks like he finished here. And let's see what he did. I'll close these other panes so I can see. So see, Claude is now taking it a step further, and he's asking if he wants to even open TradingView on my computer for me, run the strategy tester for me, and pull the stats for me. And he can push it live to my desktop because we have the TradingView MCP installed. So I'm gonna just tell him, yes, please go ahead. And so let's see, be crunching. cooking. So you see like we talked about earlier, right? What was I talking about earlier? TradingView MCP likes to throw errors sometimes, and you need to reconnect it to TradingView and to Claude. So you see it can't even find the TradingView. So I'm gonna tell it I have TradingView installed. I closed and reopened it. Please rescan now. So make sure, if you're getting that same error, like I said, make sure you close TradingView, reopen it, and just tell Claude that and have him rescan. And you know, when he does his rescan, he should be able to connect to the TradingView MCP. So we're gonna let that work. Alright, so as you can see, Claude literally opened up TradingView on my computer after I reinitialized the MCP connection. And you can see he converted the indicator into a strategy, and it's plotted on our chart. And you can see here the strategy report, the P&L, total trades, the number of profitable trades, and just all the info that comes with testing the strategy, right? So earlier I did say, right, that the TradingView, you know, strategy report is not the best way to backtest. If you're gonna want to truly backtest, you're gonna want to build a Python engine to help you backtest. I can make a whole separate video on building a Python engine to backtest and downloading all the data of whatever equity you want to trade. You could download all the data for NASDAQ, let's say, which is what I did. And I ran it through all the data since 1993, my bot. I ran it through all the data using a Python system I built with the help of Claude, obviously. Yeah, you know, that's how you properly backtest. This is good for the auditing, right? For just step one in the auditing methodology, just to get a rough estimate and look at the numbers, right? But when it comes time to truly backtest, you're gonna want to build that Python engine. But this is good to give you an idea and a rough estimate, and just, you know, be able to quickly determine like which strategies are worth you pursuing. You know, real time and energy and effort, and obviously real capital, of course. And others, you know, you should look at them and immediately see after loading them up on the strategy report that they're fucking garbanzo, and you should just not do with them. So, you know, like I said, this is good for demonstrating the holdout methodology, the split and the lock and the test concept. Everyone has access to TradingView strategy report, so this is fairly easy and fairly accessible for multiple people. Not everyone can build a Python engine. If that's something more specific that certain people want, let me know. I can talk all day about that stuff. So, you know, the principle is the same here as it is with a Python engine, just this has some quirks that don't really make it as like high tier production as you would want it to be for a system creating real money. All right, so make sure your strategy report is open, and you know, you have your strategy loaded in, and you're able to see a report that looks like this, right? Right here is going to be your dates, which is going to be important, and here's going to be all your statistics about your strategy. Right here, if you click on your strategy name right here, and then settings and inputs, this is going to give you your parameters, your parameter values, right? So your extension ticks, our stop, right? Time window. These are like the current values that this report is running off of, right? In a real workflow of like, you know, you actually working with the AI back and forth, you're going to have tried many combinations on the training data, and you're going to have picked the best one that you have found. So for this demo, I'm just going to use these values that we built. But you understand what I'm saying. You're going to want to go back and forth with the AI, and you're going to want to, you know, really fine tune this. And this is the most important part of auditing any strategy. So now we're going to apply the date filter so we can get just our training data, and then apply another date filter so then we can get our holdout data, which is our 30%. Remember, our training data is the 70% and our holdout is the 30%. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the strategy report panel, right? And you're going to hit right here, the dates. Now, if you have your Pine script open like this, it won't show you. So you make sure you close your Pine script. You can just go right here and hit dates. You're going to hit custom date range, right? So the first date should be the first available date. So whenever you're doing training data, right? The first date should be the first available date. So select first available. Now, the end date should be roughly 70% of the way through our data. So 70% of our data is 12.6 years. So you click first available date and you can see here that it says like $17.99, bro. Don't even worry about that. Just click select first available date. TradingView just accounts for like the first like date in like fucking mankind's history. I don't know, but it doesn't actually pull data until like 2008. Like you can actually go look. So technically the first date is in 2008, but the 70% for us is going to be in 2020 for this date range, right? So 2020, specifically the month of June. So typed in the month, June 21st, 2020. That's about 70% through our date range. Gonna hit select. Now, whatever number populates, that's gonna be our training data. So see, running this strategy between 2008 and 2020, you would have lost $8,000. Only 35% of trades would have been profitable, and you have a 0.9 profit factor. So now you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna take this, feed it into your Claude. You're gonna tell Claude, hey, this is what my training data is. Then you're now gonna do the same thing for your holdout data. So this time, instead of 70%, which is what training data is, what is holdout? What did I say? 30%. So 30% of our date range would be the ending date of our 70% date range, right? So if you're not seeing how it works, is you have time, right? You have your date ranges. 2008 is like 0%. The present, we keep moving in time, right? It keeps moving. It keeps moving. So it keeps changing the percent values, right? So 0 to 70%, which is what your training data is 2008 to 2020 June, right? That's your 70% training data. Your holdout, which is your 30%, is the remaining 30% to make 100%. So the holdout date range is going to be what? It's going to start where the training data date range ended. So the starting date is going to be June 21st, 2020, right? Let's go ahead. Let's put that in. 20-06-21. And our end date is going to be what? Today. Let's 6:05. Alrighty, select. Now this is gonna print us our holdout data. So look at that. Boom. If you ran this strategy from 2020 to 2026, your P&L will be 27K. Now look at the amount of profitable trades though, 39%. And look at the amount of trades, 334. And the profit factor of 1.1. So that's how you get your holdout and your training data, and you just use a simple tool that's accessible to everyone, the strategy report, and how you can use Claude to, you know, have a Socratic seminar pretty much with Claude and go back and forth, adjust your parameters, you know, your data sets. If you don't know the data values, if you don't know what your 70% of your date range is, ask Claude. He'll tell you, bro. Ask Claude. You have a question? Ask Claude, bro. You got a question you want to ask me? Ask Claude, bro. He'll know. If you don't want to ask Claude, come ask me and I'll know. I'm here to help. I want to see you guys succeed, and that's why I make these videos. And you know, I made these videos long time, bro. Like, it's funny now that like my reel got found and I kind of blew up. I mean, not really blew up, but just kind of gained more exposure. And like a bunch of people who don't really know me or knowing that I've been doing this for like a while. I've just been like making videos and like doing this shit. So, you know, I enjoy this. I'm very passionate about this. I love learning about AI, doing everything with AI. I don't know, very into it. And yeah, it's really crazy that we live in a time where we have stuff like this. So yeah, now we're just going to talk about briefly just a recap of, you know, this step. And yeah, so 2 results that we got. We had our training data and our holdout data, right? So the training period, first 70% of the data. The total P&L was negative 6,000, right? Which I showed. Now our holdout period was what? Positive 27,000. The strategy made money during the holdout period, and then during the training period, it lost money. So this is inverted from what we usually see. And so this is really inverted from what you usually tend to see. You usually see training data perform where the holdout doesn't. What a textbook example would look like is that the training data looks fantastic and then the holdout is ass, right? But mine did the opposite. And so this is good because, you know, you run into things like this. It's not going to be cookie cutter. The workflow I went through is not going to be the exact carbon copy workflow that you go through. The questions and stuff that I'm working with the AI is not going to be the same that you're doing, right? It's all different. And this is what I was saying at the beginning, is that working with AI, there's an element of your own to it. It's not going to be the same for everybody, right? And so this could mean 3 things when your holdout strategy is better than your training strategy, right? 1, regime change. The market behaved differently during the training period than it did during the holdout period, right? And you'd be like, oh, duh, bro. Well, yeah, I mean, that's logic number 1, bro. The strategy didn't fit one regime and it fits the other. So it could be real edge where it just didn't work during that one time period, but now during this time period, it does work, right? So let's say the strategy didn't work in 2018, but now in the year 2026, there's maybe an edge to this strategy. Who knows? That's what this whole workflow is about, is finding strategies, validating them, auditing them, building upon them, automating the system. Like, it's a whole thing. Number 2, this could just be a lucky example. 27,000 on a 30% slice of data could just be a favorable window. Like, the terms could just be in our favor, right? So that doesn't mean that the strategy is amazing and it doesn't represent future returns like reliable. So just keep that in mind. And number 3, last, the training period was unusually hostile to the strategy. So maybe, you know, a sustained trending regime of price is where this strategy excels, right? And it needs ranges that only, you know, sustained PA can provide during certain time windows, during certain cycles of the market. And the holdout, returning to normal conditions, is what gave us the 27K. So, you know, prior to 2020, when our 30% date range interval begins, let's say the market was very hostile towards this strategy, and now the market, for whatever reason, is now favoring the strategy, and now there might be some real edge behind it. So which one is it though? Well, one holdout slice, like, cannot tell you. It could be all 3 at once, could be one, could be the other. This is why the audit has 4 steps. In the next segment, we're going to run a bootstrap on the trade list to figure out how confident, you know, we can actually be in any of these numbers. How reliable. Like I say, trust but verify. So we're going to get into that next. All right, bootstrapping. So I know that sounds technical and crazy, but you don't need to make it that way. Here's the problem. Your back test shows you have an average of plus 0.3 R per trade. So this looks like an edge, but is that edge real? Or did you just get lucky with the order of trades and with the timing of the market? So Bootstrap answers that. Step 1, your trades. Say you got like 100 trades from a backtest, a mix of winning trades and a mix of losing trades. The average works out to plus 0.3R. That's your starting number. And this is going to be the move. You pull 100 trades out of the bag at random. Each trade can be picked more than once, and you're going to compute the average. Then do it again, new random pool, new average that you're going to compute. Then you're going to repeat that 10,000 times. 10,000 different averages, all built from your same 100 trades, just sampled in different orders. Step 3, you're going to look at the range, and you're going to sort the 10,000 averages from low to high. Throw out the bottom 2.5% and throw out the top 2.5%. What's left in the middle, that's your 95% confidence interval. And the honest answer to where does my real edge actually live? So do you actually have an edge? It comes about 2 ways. If you're in the green, then your range is all positive numbers. So maybe plus 0.05 on the low end and plus 0.55 on the high end. Even the worst shuffle still made money. That's a real edge. You deploy at a minimum size and you're going to forward test it. Next, if your confidence interval is in the red, then your range crosses 0. Maybe minus 0.1 on the low end and plus 0.7 on the high end. That means, given the trades you have, your true edge could be slightly negative, could be slightly positive. You can't tell, the data isn't enough. So that winning backtest result you were looking at could be real, but it could be a coin flip dressed up. So in practice, you need to ask Claude to run this on your trade list. It takes 2 minutes and you get a clean answer. So either your edge survives or it doesn't. The rule is simple. CI needs to be all positive and you might have something. You're going to deploy and you're going to forward test. If your CI is crossing 0 into the negatives, you don't have proof yet and you need to collect more trades or you need to find a new strategy. So literally to execute this, all you have to do is just literally ask Claude. Just ask Claude to do it for you and he will do it for you. So you just tell him something like, I have a list of TradeR multiples, and then you're just going to paste your data list. You're going to run a Bootstrap with 10,000 resamples, compute the 95% confidence interval of the average, tell me the lower bound and upper bound, and then the verdict, does the CI cross positive or negative? So that's literally all you have to do. Claude will run the Bootstrap for you. Just ask him to do it. Next segment, we're going to go over bias checks, cost modeling, and forward walking. So those are the last 3 things to check before you trust any backtesting results. Guys, I'm slowly melt maxing into the chair. I've been here for so long that I've become a chud. Oh my god, I'm literally chudified. Fuck. It's like I need to take some Reddit True Tide, go walk around Brickle with a nice pura vida smoothie. Maybe, you know, run into Ziv the Watch Nig. Hey, I'm Ziv the Watch Guy. Hey, I'm Ziv the Watch Nig. Really love your reference number 96572. Anyways, let me sit up. Stop trolling, bro. Fuck. So, this is the last 3 steps in the entire audit portion. Before you can actually trust any backtest, you need to know 3 things: bias detection, cost modeling, and our forward walking. So once you've done these 3, the Bootstrap confidence interval that we just covered, that's it. You're done. That's your audit process. So let me walk you through the remaining 3. The holdout test, right? So the holdout test we did in the last segment, that was just one portion of data, one snapshot. And one snapshot isn't really enough to trust a backtest. What you actually want is to test a strategy across multiple different time windows. So if it worked in 5 separate periods, you've got a way better case for it being real than if it just worked in one of those. That's the walk forward principle. But here's the catch. The windows have to be non-overlapping, and this is where most retail traders mess up. They'll slide the same window forward by a few bars each time, and they'll, call it that at 5 tests. But it's not 5 tests. It's basically one test dressed up to look like 5, because all 5 windows are looking mostly within the same conglomerate of data. So this is how you end up with these 14 out of 14 positive walk forwards and results that mean nothing. They look cool on paper, and on paper they might look good, but when it's time to actually apply them in market timing, it's just a one result repeat. So the rule is simple: non-overlapping windows, or use a month-long block Bootstrap if you want to get fancy. Anything else is just statistical bullshit. Second section, the biases. 3 biases that hide in your backtests. The first one is your look ahead bias. So this is when your strategy uses information that it wouldn't actually have had available at the time of the decision, right? So a classic example of this would be you're using the closing price of a bar to make an entry decision. The close didn't even exist yet when your entry fired, but your code uses it anyway. And because in a backtest the bar already closed by the time the script checks, your code uses close-based logic on entry bars. So now you've got look ahead. Go through your script, make sure entries fire on data that was actually available at entry time. Second one, survivorship. So this is when you're testing on a universe that's already been proven to the failures. For futures like NQ, this isn't really an issue. NQ doesn't get delisted, but if you're testing on equity baskets, this matters a lot. So say your watch list is the current S&P 500, you already excluded everything that got kicked out for performance reasons, so your backtest is only testing on the survivors. Your results inflate. The third one, phantom fills. So this is when you assume you got filled at a price the market only touched, but didn't actually trade through. So your stop is at 20,000. The bar low prints 20,000 even. Did you actually fill, or did the market just wick to that price without any actual volume trading there? In a real broker, maybe you didn't get filled. In a backtest, the script assumes you did. The fix, require the price to trade through your level by at least 1 tick, not just touch it. So now we're going to break down the costs. So real trading has costs, and backtests almost always undermodel them. Let me give you an actual number. Commissions on NQ, about $4 to $6 round trip per contract. MNQ is way cheaper, 50 cents to $1.50. So for slippage, we're gonna have 1 tick on stops and half a tick on our limits. And spread tightens during regular hours and widens overnight on news days. So here's a test that actually matters. What you do, you run your backtest, but with 2x worse cost than you'd realistically expect. Double the commission, double the slippage, 50% wider spread, and you look at whether the strategy still makes money. If your edge survives that, that's real edge, robust enough for live trading. If your edge dies at 2x cost, your strategy is brittle. Real world friction and live trading would eat it alive, and it's not a viable strategy. So that's the full 4-step audit. Hold out, Bonferroni, Bootstrap confidence interval, and walking forward plus bias and plus cost. None of these steps are optional, and none of them work alone. They all work together, and they all complement each other in order to help you, better trust a backtest result. Skip any one of them and you're still going to be guessing. Once you've done all 4 and the strategy survives, then and only then can you deploy real capital at a minimum size. You're going to let that data prove or disprove the rest. So the next part, we're going to be talking about executions and risk, how big you trade, how to protect yourself when the strategy hits drawdown, because every strategy hits drawdown. I hit drawdown. I was in a crazy losing streak before I started winning. Don't think now because I'm posting wins that I never was losing. Okay, I want to be very transparent about that because I know there's people who just only post their highlights, only post when they're doing good. So yeah, every strategy hits a drawdown, no matter who you are, no matter what kind of trader you are. And yeah, this is where we're going to go next. Executions and risk. Let's go. All right, so your strategy survived the audit. Now you actually have to trade it and implement it. And the question is, how do you size and how do you protect yourself when things inevitably go sideways? Because they will go sideways, trust me. This whole process of building out a strategy and implementing AI into trading, you're going to run into a lot of issues, a lot of quirks, a lot of stuff that falls on you and your own brain power and using the resources of the internet and AI to help you. Like, use it. I'm telling you, AI is the future, bro. AI is the future. Startups took 10 years. Startups took 10 years. Now they take 2 and a team of 5 people. That's all you need. Team of 5 people versus a team of 50 people in 10 years. AI will help you with everything, bro. All the startups that are coming out nowadays, all low number count employees, and they're running some sort of AI infrastructure. That's just the way our world is and the direction we're heading. And if you're not getting comfortable with AI and starting to, learn about AI and the function and its uses and really diving in deep thoughts with the deep, shout out the deep, then you're not going to benefit, right? Like AI, bro, Leverage the AI. Come on, bro. Leverage the AI. You need to leverage the AI. You need to become one with the AI in sync. You need to, like the kaijus, bro. Who watched that movie where they had the big robots and they was fighting in the Atlantic Ocean, and all of a sudden you see a fat ass 3-head Hydra spawn in the fucking Indian Ocean. Does that make the Hydra Indian? I don't know, G. But you know, if the Hydra was Indian, it might not be in the water, because you know. But whatever. We're getting off topic. The AI, bro. Listen, the AI. Okay, you need to leverage the AI. Get with the program with the AI. All right, boom, AI. Now, 2 halves to this segment: position sizing and circuit breakers. So let me start with the sizing. So the first one, look at the graph. There's 4 methods, from most conservative to most aggressive. So this first one is fixed fractional. This is when you risk a fixed percentage of your account on every trade. Maybe 0.5%, maybe 0.25%, doesn't matter. The point is, it stays small even after you start winning. Most retail traders should be using this, and it's simple, it's predictable, and it doesn't let one bad trade blow up the entire account. Second one, Kelly criterion. So this is the mathematically optimal way to size if you know your edge perfectly. But the problem is, you don't. And you think you know your edge, and your backtest says your edge is plus 0.3, right? But the real edge could be way lower than that, or just luck. And if you size with Kelly while overestimating your edge, you're going to take huge drawdown, like huge. So Kelly is theoretically correct, practically dangerous, and should be used for testing new strategies. Third one, half Kelly or quarter Kelly. So this is the practical version. You take whatever Kelly tells you, you cut it in half or in quarters, and for mature strategies with a long track record, this is pretty reasonable. For anything new, still too aggressive in my opinion. Fourth one, minimum size forward test. This is where every new strategy should start. Smallest contract your broker allows. For NQ traders, so us that are trading NQ or MNQ, basically 0.05% of your account is being risked per trade. You don't size up, you don't get fancy, you just trade the smallest size possible for 30 plus trades, and you see if your strategy actually works in a live market conditions. So this is the move for anything you just built. Any strategy, any pipeline, workflow, whatever garbanzo it is, bro, this is what you're gonna do. Even after passing the audit, start with minimum size first. Prove it works live before you size up, okay? So now we're gonna move on to the circuit breakers. Look at the bottom of the graphic. 4 hard rules. They aren't suggestions. These are the rules that keep you in the game when things go bad. And I'm telling you, things will go bad, and that's just trading. First one, daily drawdown, 1%. So if you're down 1% of your account at any point in the trading day, you stop trading for that day. Doesn't matter if you have a setup that looks great, you're done, close the laptop, come back tomorrow. I promise you there will always be another opportunity to trade. Literally, I promise you have my word, bro. If not, then that means it's the rapture and it's the second coming of Jesus himself, bro. But there will always, or a bank holiday, but there will always be a time to trade, bro. So close your freaking prop firm and get off that shit, or your live account, whatever it is, and just go smoke a J, do some bath salts, G, whatever it might be. I don't care, bro. Just get off the charts. All right. Third one. When you're in drawdown, the worst thing you can do is keep trading. You're emotionally compromised, okay? Your judgment is off. Trust me. You might not think so, but I'm literally telling you it has an impact when you see that you're in drawdown. Subconsciously it does. All right, your judgment is going to be off, so you're going to force trades that aren't there. You're going to over leverage, and that's how a 3% drawdown turns into a 15% drawdown. And you know, at that point, might as well say ay caramba, adios. So third one, max trades per day. I do 2 max trades per day. If you want, you can do 3. Okay, for testing strategy and stuff, you can do 3. Past 3 trades, you're forcing setups. The market doesn't owe you action every day, right? There doesn't need to be action on the market every day. Some days there's like 4 clean setups, right? And then some days there's 0. So trading more than 3 a day on most like retail strategies, you're gonna be chasing. Fourth one, last one, the kill switch. This is the manual override. If something feels really wrong, or what you're seeing on the chart you just don't like, you close all positions. You don't trade today. If there's something going on externally in your life, I suggest you don't trade, bro. Trading really requires a sound mind, body, and spirit, all right? You need to have a clear mind when trading, especially going through a workflow like this where you're auditing what the AI is outputting to you. The kill switch overrides everything. I know these rules sound restrictive, and they're meant to be restrictive. That's the point. Trading without these rules is how most traders are gonna fucking blow their shit up. and trading with these rules is how you stay in the game long term, bro. You need to start thinking long term in a world where everyone is thinking short term. I promise you, everyone out there in the world right now is thinking short term. I see it every day, bro. Every day. I know you guys don't know me, and this might be the first YouTube video that you're watching of me, but I'm literally telling you, my life story is crazy. I've experienced so much, and I could talk forever about just the shit I experienced when I was in the military and doing stuff for the government and all that stuff, bro. I'm 22 years old, and I live a crazy life. And that's why I have a lot of time to learn about AI and just do a bunch of fucking side bullshit, bro, because I've done a lot in the past. So this is the sizing and the protection setup. You need to start thinking long term. I promise you. Stop thinking the short term. Everyone nowadays is always thinking about the short term. How can they get there fast? How can they get there quick? And I promise you, bro, these people, you're going to surpass them. Surpass them. You're going to notice something. There's always going to be people who hate on you no matter what. But those people that are hating on you is never people that are doing better than you. It's only people that are doing worse than you that hate on you. I promise you. Literally no one that's doing better than you in life is going to hate on you. Like, I promise you. Me doing better than whoever, I'm striving to inspire that person, bro. I want them to succeed. I'm making this video, this content. I'm doing all of this because I want to help people out, bro. I want to help. I want to, inspire. So, if you're getting hate, I promise you that person's not doing better than you, and you're doing something right. With that being said, this next segment is going to be about manual execution loop, and we're going to go look at what taking a trade actually looks like, from broker to field. So let's go. Okay, you've got your audited strategy. You've got your indicator plotted on TradingView, and you have the alert wired. So now you're ready to actually trade. Top of the graph, you'll see we have 5 steps, and these are the same 5 steps that you're going to do every single time that the strategy fires. So step 1 is the alert firing. Your TradingView indicator hits the signal condition, and then the alert that we set up is going to ping your phone with the JSON payload, with the symbol, the entry, the stop, the target, everything you need to act upon. Step 2 is you're going to go to your broker. Step 3 is you're going to place the trade on your broker. And step 4 is you're going to set your stop and your target. Step 5, walk away. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. You're going to walk away and you're going to forget about it, okay? This is the part most people fail at. You don't sit there staring at the position. You don't move your stop when price gets close. You don't take profits early when it's halfway to target. You let the trade play out exactly the way the plan said it would. This is so important. I don't care if you're freaking up $500, bro. You're gonna let the plan ride out, bro. That's the entire premise of this. Trading is not a who can make the most amount of money game. Obviously, the money comes secondary, but the first task in trading is success. But the first pillar in trading is your methodology, right? Like building a system that you know works. Building a system that you can trust, and that's what we're doing. The money comes secondary as a result of a system that you can trust. That's why it's so important that you don't just plug and play some bullshit. You have to work at this. You have to actually implement this, go back and forth, lots of trial and error. I mean, it's not an overnight thing. Like I said, like this just didn't happen overnight. I've done so much, and I could make a 24-hour long video on AI. So you're gonna let the trade play out exactly like the plan said it would. The hardest part of manual trading isn't the entry, it's the walking away. So now, why we manually trade before we automate any of this, okay? So first, you need to learn the system, okay? You need to learn the basics. You need to learn the framework and take it from the ground up. Or else, if you just start out the gate automating shit, you're gonna fuck yourself over and you're gonna fuck a lot of shit up and you're gonna lose money in your trading, all right? Second, you catch edge cases, weird fills, news spikes, halt, connection drops, times when the alert fires but the setup doesn't actually look right when you eyeball the chart. You'll see things in live trading that a bot will just mindlessly execute. Then you can teach the bot what to avoid, and then you can add, like I said, change parameters, filters, play with it, go back and forth. Third, you build trust. When you finally do automate this system, and that's something later I'm going to show y'all, you'll trust the bot because you traded the signal yourself first. No bot is going to print for you on the strategy you don't already trust. Because the first drawdown that the bot will put you through, most likely you're going to shut it off, right? Unless you already know in your bones that the strategy works. So the rule is manual first, automate second. That's the order always. Always, always, always. Anytime you're testing a new strategy, whatever, you're always going to do the manual loop first, and then you go to the automation. You never, ever, ever automate out the gate, bro. Oh my God, I would, no. You're not going to do that. All right, next part is the compounding loop, journaling, daily review with Claude, and the weekly drift checks. This might be the like more important than prompting Claude, more important than whatever, bro. This is what makes the AI, and it's gonna separate you from like a normal AI user to someone who is like really leveraging the AI. The daily reviews and the weekly drift checks. So we're gonna get into that now, and I'm gonna explain that. So like I said, this right here is very crucial. This is going to separate people into two categories. The ones who improve over time and the ones who just are doing bullshit over time. The compounding loop, okay? 3 pieces. The journal, the daily review with Claude, and the weekly drift check. Plus 1 rule that tells you when to retire a strategy. So let me start with the journal. Left side of the graphic, the journal is a system's memory. Without it, you can't learn from your trades because you don't remember them accurately. You think you do, you don't. 2 weeks later, your brain has rewritten what happened. The winners feel like skill and the losers feel like flukes. That's not what happened, but you wouldn't know unless you wrote it down. So what goes in the journal? 6 things. Timestamp, symbol, setup type, so you can sort by time of day and setup type later when you're reviewing patterns. Your entry, your stop, your target, and your exit prices. The math of the trade. The R result, plus 0.8, minus 1, whatever it might be. R multiples are the unit that matters, not dollars. Dollars vary by account size, R is universal. Screenshots. 2, the chart at entry and the chart at exit. Future you wants to see what you actually saw, words alone don't carry it. Plan versus execution. 1 line. Did you follow the plan, or did you deviate? If you deviated, how did you deviate? This is the line that catches the most learning over time. And finally, the emotional state. 1 word. Focused, tilted, distracted, tired, sick, anxious, whatever. 1 word. That's the field that tells you whether your bad days were strategy days or human days. What you do not put in the journal is a backstory, rationalizations, predictions about what the next trade might be. Future you doesn't need that shit, alright? Don't include it. Just the facts of what actually happened with that particular trade. The journal is forensic. Top right of the graphic, the daily review. After each session, you're going to paste your journal into Claude. You're going to run template 5 from the prompt pack, the one that says review the session honestly, flag plan deviations, flag execution issues, flag time of day drift. 5 minutes of work. 5 minutes of work is all this takes. Claude reads your journal alongside the chart context, calls out the things you'd miss on your own, and then because you were in the trade, why your judgment might have been compromised. So without a daily review, you're going to accumulate bad habits and you don't notice what is actually going on day by day. With the daily review, you're going to catch everything early and you're going to just become that much more better of not just a trader, but a person. If you're not just journaling in general your life and keeping track of things that are going on, then you're just not in a good spot. I have like 5 different journals. I have a journal for trading, a journal for life, a journal for thoughts and ideas, a journal for goals, a journal for random stuff. Maybe a secret journal, who knows, you know? Maybe a gooning journal, who knows? What even is a gooning journal? I couldn't even tell you, G. So now, the drift check. Every Friday, after the close, you take the week's journal entries and you run template 6 in the prompt pack. You're going to compare this week to the prior 4. Has anything drifted? Time of day distribution, win rate, average R per trade, any new behaviors added that aren't in the plan. Drift is a silent killer. You don't notice it day to day, you only catch it when you compare week over week. Claude does the comparison fast. You would take an hour and miss things. I promise you the AI is so good at this. Claude takes 30 seconds and surfaces patterns you don't see. Next, the retirement signal. This one's brutal, but it's important. Every strategy eventually stops working. Alpha decay, if you know what that is, basically when, you know, the edge to a strategy just deteriorates. 1, because of the market conditions, 2, because too many people are using that strategy, or 3, whatever bullshit you want to come up with. So, what was edge becomes noise. And the question is, how do you know when your strategy died? So, if your live results fall outside your backtest 95% confidence interval for 20 plus consecutive trades, it's safe to say your strategy might be on the verge of dying. It might not, but it might be. So then you're going to want to pause that strategy and you're going to investigate why. 2 possibilities. 1, regime change, market conditions shifted and the edge needs adapting. 2, your edge decayed because too many people figure out the same pattern, like I said. Either way, you stop trading it until you understand what changed. Now you're going to run template 10 on the live results. Claude tells you continue, pause, or retire. Honest verdict, and then you act on it. So that's the compounding loop. Journal everything, review daily with Claude. Drift check weekly, and retire dead strategies when the data tells you to. Most traders skip all this shit. I know at least 10 people who trade that don't even journal. Next segment, we're gonna go into the daily review, and I'm gonna paste a sample journal into Claude, and we're gonna see what comes back. When you and your newly ascended high-tier normie army have reached the gates of Chadville, and you're greeted by the true Eve Queen and her Chad army beginning the battle of the Third Floyd War, but as the battle progresses, you realize your army is still outmatched, so you take control as the true Adam and begin slaying in the name of ending hypergamy, but you lose control, and the next second you look up to see only the true Eve Queen looking back at you, knowing the only way to victory is to defeat the woman you once loved. Holy cinema. Oh my god, get this guy a blockbuster film immediately.
Look at it. Make it ground.
Maryland residents discover Infinity Gauntlet.
Look at it. Make it ground.
Bro, what the fuck? I'm so autistic, bro. Holy fuck.
Look at it.
Hey. First time touching a milk. Life never felt so real. You already knowing the deal. You sipping on those stretch walk. Bitch, I'm just cracking the seal. Oh my god. Bro, what happened to that Yeet, bro? Oh my god, I miss my GOAT, bro. Yeet's the greatest artist of all time, bro. Greatest artist of all time. The shit he been putting out now, though, is straight garbanzo, bro. But his other shit, so fire, bro. Like, 2020 Yeet to, like, 2025 Yeet, like, was so fire, bro. And then this last project, straight caca. Bitch, I said stop taking 1,000 for my jeans, like it ain't enough. What you know about them Uzi leaks, my G? Fucking that bitch as she come. Fucking that bitch as she come. So you're gonna go into your Claude session. Here I have a sample journal. I have 3 trades from a hypothetical trading day using the VWAP reversion demo strategy that we coded earlier into our TradingView. 2 of the trades are clean, and one of them is a plan violation that I purposely put in there so I can show you guys Claude, catch it. And I'm not gonna tell Claude which one it is. So we're gonna see if Claude can catch, the one trade that's a plan violation in there. So you're gonna go into your Claude. And so to do that, we're just going to type in Claude, start a new session, and you're going to paste that prompt from the prompt pack into Claude with your trade journal data, right? So it should look something like this. Here's my trade journal for today, the 3 trades, and then, the strategy plan and the prompt to review the session and honestly flag. Trades taken outside the plan, enter. It ain't enough, spent 2,000 on my jeans. Alright, so Claude's done. Let's see what Claude does here. So Claude read the 3 trades, he cross-checked them against the strategy plan that I gave him. He looked for the validation, and then the claude.md file that we set up in this demo project, right, tells Claude to be specific and to name the trade numbers when flagging issues. So we should get a clear, structured response back. Now we have a response, and he, as you see, should flag trade 3 specifically, which is 2 plan violations in 1 trade. First violation was it was outside the entry window. 11:18 is past the 11 a.m. cutoff. And the extension was 28 ticks, which is below the 30 tick threshold. So the emotional state forcing should also get flagged. Look at what Claude just did. Trade 1, clean win. No issues flagged. Good. That's what we want. Trade 2, clean loss. Plan was followed, stop was followed, no issues flagged. Even though it's a loss, it's a correct loss. So the strategy did exactly what it was supposed to do, and that distinction matters. Look at trade 3 though. This is the one that I purposely threw in there to see if Claude could invalidate it. Claude flagged it hard, and there's 2 separate plan violations in this one trade. First, the entry was at 11:18, like I said. My plan says the entry window closes at 11, so that trade should have never happened. That's outside the window, period. Second, the extension was 28 ticks, so my threshold is 30. Below the threshold is what we had with this trade, which is 28 ticks. Even if it had been inside the window, it didn't qualify. And then Claude flagged the emotional state. Forcing came right after the loss on trade 2. So the pattern is losing trade, then immediately forcing another setup that wasn't there. Breaking 2 rules at once. Classic revenge trade pattern. This is the kind of thing I'd miss reviewing my own journal. I was in the trade, my memory of why I took it is reconstructed. Claude reads the journal fresh, no emotional attachment, and catches the violation in 15 seconds. Now the adjustment that Claude proposed was to set a hard alert at 11 a.m. that disables entry for the rest of the day. Make the rule mechanical instead of willpower dependent. And that's what we should do. You don't trust yourself to walk away from a setup after a losing trade, leverage the AI. So you build a system that takes that decision out of your hands. And that's the daily review. 5 minutes a day after every single session, the journal caches the data, Claude catches the patterns. Do this every day for a month and you'll know more about your own trading than 90% of people ever figure out about theirs. Next part is the automation. When manual goes to a bot, how the architecture actually works, and we wire up a live Telegram alert at the end. Let's go. All right, automation. This is the part that a lot of people rush to, and you shouldn't. This is where everything just fucking goes wrong if you're just gonna rush this step. Look, automation is the right move eventually. Keyword eventually, but only after you have earned it, alright? We talked about manual trading and the loop. But this is when you actually move from the manual loop to a bot. And what does a bot architecture look like when you build it right? So 3 preconditions. All 3 have to be true before you flip the switch on automation. Number 1, your live data confirms your backtest. Specifically, your live results so far are inside the 95% confidence interval that the audit produced. Same range, same expectancy. If your backtest says plus 0.3R and your live trades are tracking plus 0.3R, that's confirmation. If your live trades are way off, then the backtest lied. Don't automate it. Number 2, 30 plus profitable manual trades. You've been trading this by hand for at least 30 trades, and the net result is positive. Not break even, not almost, but profitable. If you can't make money on it manually, a bot will not save you. The bot will just lose your money faster than you would have. Number 3, every edge case is specified in writing. Every weird situation that you ran into during your 30 manual trades, what you did, what the rule should be next time, that's all written down. Because if you can't write the rule out, the bot can't follow it. Implicit decisions don't translate to code. When all 3 of these are true, you bought it, not before, not during, but after. All these are true. Bottom of the graphic, you'll see the bot architecture, which is 6 modules. The first 3 modules are the core of the bot. The signal generator, that's your strategy and code. It reads market data and fires a signal when conditions are met. Same logic as the indicator in TradingView, but running as a standalone process that can act on the signal automatically. The trade executor takes a signal, sends the order to your broker, sets size, stop, target, bracket order goes in automatically, and you don't want a position to exit without a stop, even for 1 second. The account state manager. It tracks open positions, P&L, current equity, reconciles with the broker every tick, so if there's ever a discrepancy between what your bot thinks is happening and what's actually in the account, you catch it immediately. And this goes back to agentic AI and how you can have several agents within a workflow. So like you can have agents do whatever. You can create an agent for whatever, sub-agents sub-agents within agents, within an agent, within another agent, within a sub-agent. You can do whatever you want with agents. And so these are 3 agents that I have baked into this bot architecture, right? The signal generator, the trade executor, and the account manager. The whole function of the account manager is literally to monitor open trades and the P&L and everything and ensure everything goes smoothly and everything is following the plan. That's like the head fucking honcho. That's like your hedge fund manager, you know? So that's what's at the core of the operation. Now next is the 3 that keep you alive when something goes wrong. 1, circuit breakers. Same rules from before, but in code. Daily drawdown cap, weekly trailing drawdown, max trades per day. Bot enforces these automatically, no willpower or human intervention required. 2, alert system. Telegram for me. That's what I'm choosing. Sends a ping when a signal fires, another ping when the order fails, and another when the position closes, another if a circuit breaker fires, and another if there's any exception or error. You will always know what the bot just did in real time. Third, health monitor and kill switch, the watchdog process. If the main bot crashes, the watchdog catches it, and it either auto restarts or sends you an alert through Telegram that it's down. There's always a manual kill switch, a button you can hit from your phone that closes all positions and shuts the bot down, because sometimes you need to override the system and the bot doesn't know everything. So now look at the bottom of the graph, the principle. You're not relinquishing control when you build a bot. You're encoding what you already learned how to do manually, same workflow, same rules, same risk management, just running 24/7 instead of when you're at the screen. That's all automation is. That's all automation is. The bot is the operator and you're still the designer. That's why that manual layer needs to be fucking solid before you can progress to the automation, right? The distinction matters. All right, so we just got done talking about the architecture of the bot, and now we're going to talk about the alert layer. Telegram specifically, which is what I'm choosing to use. If you want to use something else, ask Claude, ask me, figure it out. So if you see at the top, 4 steps, this is what's going to happen every time a signal fires. 1, your bot detects entry conditions met, the signal generator module from the last segment. 2, your bot calls the Telegram API, just an HTTP request, and it sends the alert message with the trading details. 3, Telegram servers route the message to your account, and 4, your phone pings, push notification, trade details right there on your phone, and you see the alert in less than 2 seconds. So this shows the setup. 4 steps, takes maybe 10 minutes total. You message Telegram's bot father to create a new bot. You get a token. You message your new bot wants to start a chat. You grab your chat ID. You ask Claude to write a Python script that uses those 2 values to send messages. Done. So easy, bro. So easy. If you look at the bottom right of the graph, that's actually what an alert is going to look like when it lands on your phone. The setup type, the entry, the stop, the target, the RR ratio, and everything you need to act upon. So like I said, 4 steps total. You message Telegram's bot father to create your own bot. Literally at bot father on Telegram. That's the bot that's going to do the pinging. Bot father is going to give you a token for your bot that you created. You're going to message your new bot once to start a chat in Telegram, and that's going to give you a chat ID. So you're going to save both as env variables. Same way we set up the Anthropic API key. So you might be saying, why am I using Telegram instead of TradingView's native notifications, right? Well, 1 is formatting. Telegram lets you customize the message however you want. You can include any data your bot computes, risk per trade, time of day, position sizing, math, whatever your script wants to push. Native TradingView push notifications are way more limited. 2, message history. Every alert your bot has ever sent is in the Telegram chat log. You can scroll back days, weeks, months, see exactly when each signal fired, useful for the daily journal review we covered last part. 3, clean separation. TradingView fires signals. Telegram delivers them. Your broker handles the trade. 3 different systems doing 3 different jobs. None of them depend on one another working perfectly. If one breaks, the others keep going. And the same works for whether you're alerting yourself for manual trading, like the manual loop, or whether your bot is alerting you about trades it's automatically taking. Same alert system, same Telegram, different operator on each end. So that's the alert layer at the concept level. The dedicated automation video is going to come, and I'm going to show you guys how to really automate everything. But for now, this is just the basics covering the frameworks of the manual loop, and to get you guys in the mindset and get you guys comfortable with using a AI in the trading workflow. With using AI in a setting like this, and using AI and just being comfortable with AI, because I know a lot of people aren't familiar with using AI and how to implement it in something like this. So that being said, the alert layer is the closing loop. That is everything closing out our entire trading loop. I'm going to be having, like I said, tons of more videos coming on AI, on Claude, on not just using Claude with trading, but using Claude in your personal life and your businesses. I have some businesses I run and am a part of, and have, people I work with and guys I'm building shit with. I'm kind of the one that's implementing all the AI into all our workflows and into our whole business operation plan. So I'm really technical. I'm a really technical guy. I'm really into AI. I read AI every day. And every day I have AI automatically compose for me everything new that's happening in the AI space, compile it for me, give it to me in an easy digest format, and it's super straightforward. I love AI. AI helps me achieve all my goals. It helps me achieve everything I want to do, and it makes everything just so much more easier to achieve, and just makes working just so much more fun. So Next, we're gonna do a wrap, a quick case study showing all 3 paths, honest limits, and some free deliverables you can grab. Let's go. All right, so guys, we've made it. We made it to the end. This is the home stretch. Quick recap of what we have done, and then the honest limits of this system. What doesn't work, where this breaks. Look at the top of the graphic, 3 paths converging into one workflow. That was the entire architecture of this video. Path A, quant research. We walked through the Zaratini opening range breakout paper, dropped it into Claude with template 1, pulled out a 5-line testable hypothesis in 90 seconds, adapted the implementation to NQ futures way faster than reading the paper word by word, right? Duh. Path B, build from scratch. I brought a VWAP reversion observation I've been noticing on NQ, dropped it into Claude with template 3, watched Claude push back on the vague parts, ask clarifying questions, and then it forced precision out of my vague hunch. We ended up with a clean 5-line strategy spec. Path C, your own pre-existing strategy. We took pivot point bounce rules I trade by hand, plain English, including 3 intentionally vague tells, Claude pushed back on the vague ones, discretized them, and produced Pine script I could plot in TradingView immediately. All 3 of these paths feeding into the same backend pipeline, Pine script on TradingView, honest 4-step audit, manual execution loop, daily review with Claude, then eventually automation through Telegram alerts. Same workflow, 3 different entry points. Whatever your starting position is, you have a path. Bottom of the graphic are the honest limits. 4 things this workflow does not do. 1, Claude is not an oracle, okay? We covered this in the principal segment up front. If you ask Claude to give you a winning trading strategy, you're gonna get straight hot garbage. The strategy ideas come from you and the AI builds off of you. From papers, from rules, whatever, right? Claude is a research partner, coder, auditor, not the source of all-knowing and being entities, right? 2, backtest discipline is the bottleneck for most traders. Without the 4-step audit, holdout, Bonferroni, Bootstrap, and walk forward, you're trading on hope. Most backtests are overfit and the trader doesn't realize it until live trading reveals the truth. Audit discipline is what separates this workflow from grinding and endless grinding. 3, markets are non-stationary. Translation to what this actually means is what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. Every strategy eventually decays and the regime changes. Too many people figure out the same edge, so you can't build a strategy once and trade it forever. You have to keep auditing, keep reviewing, adapting, growing, and retire dead strategies when the data tells you to. Number 4, AI-coded Pine scripts can have subtle bugs. The code might compile clean and the chart might plot, but the underlying calculation might be wrong by a factor of 2 and you'd never know unless you eyeball the plot against a few known historical trades and verify the markers are firing where you expect. Always cross-check, always. And the most important one, this is not financial advice, okay? Nothing in this video is a recommendation to trade any specific strategy with real capital. I'm showing you the methodology I use to implement AI into my trading with my knowledge, my information, everything I knew and was able to leverage from the internet, research, my own brain, just this whole entire process, right, is just methodology, is teaching content. What you do with this is up to you. You know, ask me questions. Ask me how you could branch off of this. Ask me whatever you want, bro. I'll answer. So that's the recap and the honest limits. All right, lads, we made it. 4 hours later of workflow, audit discipline, prompting, the whole thing, bro. A few things before I let you go. First, everything we use in this video is gonna be in the description. Free, okay? So number 1 is gonna be the course map, 12 parts at a glance. You can print it, you know, follow it along, whatever. Use it as a reference when you're working through your own version of this workflow, right? Number 2, the complete command and prompt pack. Every Claude prompt I paste in this video, every PowerShell command, every Pine script snippet, all of it is in one PDF, paste ready, so you don't have to scrub back through the video looking for that one line of code. Number 3, the trading project claude.md template. So the exact template I drop into every trading project I start. Customize the bracketed sections for your setup, drop it at the root of your folder, and every Claude session in that project inherits the conventions automatically. Number 4 is going to be the 10 trading prompts: paper extraction, strategy codification, hypothesis formalization, backtest audit, daily review, all of them, the prompts that did most of the heavy lifting in this video. Number 5 is going to be the honest backtest 1-pager, the 4-step audit checklist: holdout, Bonferroni, Bootstrap, walk forward, 1 page, print it, run it every backtest before you trust the result. Number 6, the 3 demo Pine scripts we built: paper, scratch, and pre-existing, ready to plot in TradingView, ready to audit, ready for you to use as starting points for your own variants. All of them are free, no sign up, no join my Discord to come download that bullshit. It's just in the description, bro. Have at it. Now, look, join the Discord if you're not in the Discord. We be in there chatting it up. We all building on fucking AI. We're, you know, leveraging AI, building our fucking empires and taking over the world, G. We're doing peptides and bullshit in there too. And also the Discord is where actual work happens. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. I'll be making some changes in the Discord coming up. And yeah, if you got any value out of this video, just come join the Discord. It's where you need to go next, all right? Don't just subscribe or like or whatever. Just come to the Discord. I promise you, you will benefit from being in there. Next in the series is, I don't even know what video I want to make next in the series. Comment below what video you want to see me make next, whether you want generic Claude videos, more trading specific, you know, videos. Like I said, the Python backtesting video, if you want that, just whatever it might be. Just leave a comment or message me. So, in the end, that's it. That's the video, and that's the workflow. 3 paths, 1 pipeline, and the audit discipline that separates real edge from some bullshit. So thank you for your time again and your attention, and for letting me teach you the art of AI. And take it easy, never stress. Peace.